that later. So, without further ado,
with God.
The first part. Let's go. Henry VI, Part 1. Scene 1. Scene 1. Westminster Abbey. Death March. Enter. Funeral of King Henry V, attended by Dukes of Bedford, Regent of France, Gloucester, Protector, and Exeter, Earl of Warwick, the Bishop, and of Winchester, heralds, and company.
Hung be the heavens with black yield day tonight. Comets importing change of times and states, brandish your crystal tresses in the sky, and with them scourge the bad revolting stars that have consented unto Henry's death. King Henry the Fifth, too famous to live long. England never lost a king of so much worth.
England ne'er had a king until this time. Virtue he had, deserving to command. His brandished sword did bind men with his beams. His arms spread wider than a dragon's wings. His sparkling eyes replete with wrathful fire, more dazzled and drove back his enemies than midday sun fierce bent against their faces. What would say I? His deeds exceed all speech. He ne'er lift up his hand, but conquered.
We mourn in black. Why mourn we not in blood? Henry is dead and never shall revive. Upon a wooden coffin we attend, and death's dishonorable victory we with our stately presence glorify, like captives bound to a triumphant car. Why? Shall we curse the planets of mishap that plotted thus our glory's overthrow? Or shall we thank the subtle-witted French conjurers and sorcerers that, afraid of him, by magic verses have contrived his end?
He was a king, blessed of the King of Kings. Unto the French the dreadful judgment day, so dreadful will not be as was his sight. The battles of the Lord of hosts he fought. The church's prayers made him so prosperous.
The church, where is it? Had not churchmen prayed his thread of life, had not so soon decayed, none do you like, but an effeminate prince, whom, like a schoolboy, you may overawe.
Gloucester, whate'er we like, thou art protector, and lookest to command the prince and realm. Thy wife is proud, she holdeth thee in awe, more than God or religious churchman may.
Name not religion, for thou lovest the flesh, and ne'er throughout the year to church thou goest, except it be to pray against thy foes.
Says, these girls and the rest your minds in peace. Let's to the altar. Heralds, wait on us. Instead of God, we'll offer up our alms, since alms avail not that Henry's dead. Posterity await for wretched years, when at their mother's moist eyes babes shall suck, or I'll be made a nourish of salt tears, and none but women left to avail to wail the dead. Henry V, thy ghost I invocate. Prosper this realm, keep it from civil broils, combat with adverse planets in the heavens. A far more glorious star thy soul will make than Julius Caesar on right.
My honorable lords, health to you all. Sad tidings bring I to you out of France, of loss, of slaughter and discomfiture. Guyenne, Champagne, Rheims, Rome, Orleans, Paris, Gisons, Pointers, and are quite lost.
What sayest thou, man, before dead Henry's course? Speak softly, or the loss of those great towns will make him burst his lead and rise from dead.
Is Paris lost? His ruin yield up? If Henry were recalled to life again, these news would cause him once more yield the ghost.
How were they lost? What treachery was used?
No treachery.
But one of life and money. Sorry, amongst the soldiers, this is muttered, that here you maintain several factions, and whilst the field should be dispatched and fought, you are disputing of your generals. One would have lingering wars with little cost, another would fly swift, but wanted wings, a third things without expense at all. By Guildford fair words peace may be obtained. Awake, awake, English nobility, let not sloth dim your honors new begot. Crop all the flowers deduce it in your arms, of England's coat one half is cut away.
Were our tears wanting to this funeral, these tidings would call forth her flowing tides.
Me they concern. Reach that I am of France. Give me my steel coat. A fight for France. Away these disgraceful wailing robes. Well, wounds will I lend the French instead of eyes to weep their intermissive miseries.
Celia, could you read the other messenger, please?
Lords, view these letters, full of bad mischance. France is revolted from the English quite, except some petty towns of no import. The Dauphin Charles is crowned King of Rheims. The bastard of Orleans with him is joined. Rainier, Duke of Anjou, doth take his part. The Duke of Alencon flieth to his side.
The Dauphin crowned king? All fly to him? Oh, whither shall we fly from this reproach?
We will not fly, but to our enemies' throats. Bedford, if thou be slack, I'll fight it out.
Gloucester, why doubtest thou of my forwardness? An army have I mustered in my thoughts, wherewith already France is overrun.
Enter another messenger. And
My gracious lords, to add to your laments, wherewith you now bedew King Henry's hurt, I must inform you of a dismal fight betwixt the stout Lord Talbot and the French.
What? Wherein Talbot overcame, is it so?
Oh no, wherein Lord Talbot was overthrown. For circumstance I'll tell you more at large. The 10th of August last, this dreadful lord, retiring from the siege of Orleans, having full scar 6,000 in his troop by 23,000 of the French, was round in compass and set upon no leisure had he to enrank his men. He wanted pikes to set before his archers, instead wherewithal sharp stakes plucked out of hedges. They pitched in the ground confusedly to keep the horsemen off from breaking in. More than 3 hours the fight continued, where valiant Talbot, above human thought, enacted wonders with his sword and lance. Hundreds he sent to hell, and none durst stand him. Here, there, and everywhere in rage he slew. The French exclaimed, the devil was in arms. All the whole army stood agazed on him. His soldiers, by his undaunted spirit, "A Talbot! A Talbot!" cried out amain, and rushed into the bowels of the battle. Here had the conquest fully been sealed up. If Sir John Falstaff had not played the coward, he, being in a wayward place behind with purpose to relieve and follow them, cowardly fled, not having struck one stroke. Hence grew the general wrath and massacre, enclosed where they with their enemies a base walloon to win the Dauphin's grace. Thus Talbot with a spear into the back, and all friends with their chief assembled straight. There's not presume the good ones in the face.
Is Talbot slain? Then I will slay, then I will slay myself for living idly here in Pompigny was such a worthy leader wanting aid unto this dastard foeman is betrayed.
Oh, no, he lives, but is took prisoner, and Lord Scales with him, and Lord Hungerford, most of the rest slaughtered or took likewise.
The ransom there is none but I shall pay. I'll hail the Dauphin headlong from his throne. His crown shall be the ransom of my friend. 4 of their lords I'll change for one of ours. Farewell, my masters, to my task will I. Bonfires in France forthwith I am to make, to keep our great St. George's peace withal. 10,000 soldiers with me I will take, whose bloody deeds shall make all Europe quake.
So you had need. For Orleans besieged, the English army has grown weak and faint. The Earl of Salisbury craveth supply, and hardly keeps his men from mutiny, since they so few watch such a multitude.
Remember, lords, your oaths to Henry sworn, either to quell the Dauphin entirely, utterly, or bring him in obedience to your yoke.
I do remember it, and here take my leave to go about my preparation.
Exit. I'll to the tower with all the haste I can to view the artillery and ammunition, and then I will proclaim young Henry king. Exit.
Eltham will I, where the young king is, being ordained his special governor, and for his safety there I'll best devise.
Exit.
Each hath his place and function to attend. I am left out. For me nothing remains. But long I will not be Jack out of office. The king from Eltham I intend to steal, and sit at chiefest stern of public weal.
Exeunt. Scene 2, France, before Orleans. Sound of flourish, enter Charles, Alencon, and Regner, marching with drum and soldiers.
Mars is true moving, even as in the heavens with the earth. To this day is not known. Late did he shine upon the English side. Now we are victors, upon us he smiles. What towns of any moment but we have? At pleasure here we lie near Orleans, over whiles the famished English, like pale ghosts, faintly besiege us 1 hour in a month.
They want their porridge and their fat bull beeves. Either they must be dieted like mules and have their provender tied to their mouths, or piteous they will look like drowned mice.
Let's raise the siege. Why live we idly here? Talbot is taken, whom we won't fear. Remaineth none but mad-brained Salisbury. And he may well in fretting spend his gall. No man, no money. No men, no money. Have he to make a war? Give me a second.
Sound alarm! We will rush on them. Now for the honor of the forlorn French. Him I forgive my death that killeth me, when he sees me go back 1 foot or fly.
Exeunt. Here, alarm. They are beaten back by the English with great loss. Re-enter Charles, Alencon, and Regner.
Who ever saw the like? What men have I? Dogs, cowards, dastards. I would ne'er have fled, but that left me midst my enemies.
Salisbury is a desperate homicide. He fighteth as one weary of his life. The other lords, like lions wanting food, do rush upon us as their hungry prey.
Boisard, a countryman of ours, records England all Olivers and Rowlands bred during the time Edward III did reign. More truly now may this be verified, for none but Samsons and Goliaths it sends forth to skirmish. 1 to 10, lean, raw-boned rascals. Who would e'er suppose they had such courage and audacity?
Oh, let's leave this town, for they are harebrained slaves, and hunger will enforce them to be more eager. Of old I know them, rather with their teeth, the walls they'll tear down, than forsake the siege.
I think by some odd gimmers or device their arms are set, like clocks, still to strike on. Else ne'er could they hold out so as they do. By my consent, we'll even let them alone.
Be it so.
Enter Bastard of Orleans.
Where's the Prince Dauphin? I have news for him.
Bastard of Orleans, thrice welcome to us.
Methinks you look so sad, yet ye are appalled. Hath the late overthrow wrought this offence? Be not dismayed, for succour is at hand. A holy maid hither with me I bring, which by a vision said to her from heaven ordained is to raise this tedious siege and drive the English forth the bounds of France. The spirit of deep prophecy she hath, exceeding the 9 sibyls of old Rome. What's past and what's to come she can descry. Speak, shall I call her in? Believe my words, for they are certain and infallible.
Go, call her in.
Exit Bastard of Orleans.
But first, to try her skill, Renor, stand thou as Dauphine in my place, question her proudly, let thy looks be stern. By this means shall we sound what skill she hath.
Re-enter the Bastard of Orleans and Joan Le Pucelle.
Fair maid, is thou will do these wondrous feats?
Renier, Is it thou that thinkest to beguile me? Where is the Dauphin? Come, come from behind. I know thee well, though never seen before. Be not amazed. There's nothing hid from me. In private will I talk with thee apart. Stand back, you lords, and give us leave a while.
She takes upon her bravery at first dash.
Dauphin, I am by birth a shepherd's daughter, my wit untrained in any kind of art. Heaven and Our Lady gracious hath it pleased to shine on my contemptible estate. Lo, whilst I waited on my tender lambs, and to sun's parching heat displayed my cheeks, God's mother deigned to appear before me, and in a vision full of majesty willed me to leave my base vocation and free my country from calamity. Her aid she promised and assured success. In complete victory, complete glory, she revealed herself. And whereas I was black and swart before, with those clear rays which she infused on me, that beauty am I blessed with which you may see. Ask me what question thou canst possible, and I will answer unpremeditated. My courage try by combat, if thou darest, and thou shalt find that I exceed my sex. Resolve on this. Thou shalt be fortunate if thou receive me for thy warlike mate.
Oh, thou hast astonished me with thy high terms. Only this proof all of thy valor make. In single combat thou shalt buckle with me, and if thou vanquishest, thy words are true. Otherwise, I renounce all confidence.
I am prepared. Here is my keen-edged sword, decked with 5 fleur-de-lis on each side, the which a terrain in St. Catherine's churchyard out of a great deal of old iron I chose forth.
Then come, O God's name, I fear no woman.
And while I live, I'll ne'er fly from a man.
Here they fight, and Joan La Plucille overcomes.
Stay thy hands. Thou art an Amazon and fightest with the sword of Deborah.
Christ's mother helps me, else I were too weak.
Oh, whoever helps thee, 'tis thou that must help me. Impatiently I burn with thy desire. My heart and hands thou hast at once subdued. Excellent Pucelle, if thy name be so, let me thy servant and not sovereign be. 'Tis the French Dauphin sueth to thee thus.
I must not yield to any rites of love, for my profession's sacred from above. When I have chased all thy foes from hence, then will I think upon a recompense.
Meantime, look gracious on thy prostrate thrall.
My lord, methinks is very long in talk.
Doubtless he shrives this woman to her smock, else ne'er could he so long protract his speech.
Shall we disturb him, since he keeps no mean?
He may mean more than we poor men do know. These women are shrewd tempters with their tongues.
My lord, where are you? What defies you on? Shall we give ordinance or no?
What? No, I say. Distrustful recreants, fight till the last gasp. I'll be your guard.
But she says, I'll confirm. We'll fight it out.
Assigned am I to be the English scourge. This night the siege assuredly I'll raise. Expect St. Martin's summer, halcyon days, since I have entered under these wars. Glory is like a circle in the water, which never ceases to enlarge itself till by broad spreading it dispersed to naught. With Henry's death, the English circle ends. Dispersed are the glories it included. Now am I like that proud, insulting ship which Caesar and his fortune bear at once.
Oh, was Mahomet inspired with a dove? Thou with an eagle art inspired then. Helen, the mother of great Constantine, nor yet St. Philip's daughters were like thee. O bright star of Venus, fallen down on the earth, how may I reverently worship thee enough?
Leave off delays. Let us raise the siege.
Woman, do what thou canst to save our honors. Drive them from audience and be immortalized.
Oh, presently we'll try. Come, let's away about it. No prophet will I trust if she prove false.
Exeunt, Scene 3, London, before the Tower. Enter Gloucester with his serving man in blue coats. I am come to survey the Tower this day. Since Henry's death, I fear there is conveyance where be these wardens. What they wait on, that they wait not here. Open the gates, 'tis Gloucester that calls.
Who's there that knocks so imperiously?
Whoe'er he be, you may not be let in.
Villains, answer you so to the Lord Protector? The Lord protect him, so we answer him. We do not otherwise than we are willed.
Who willed you, or whose will stands but mine? There's none protector of the realm but I. Break up the gates, I'll be your warren ties. Shall I be flouted thus by dunghill grooms?
What noise
Elsie
is
then rushed
this?
to the tower, and Woodvale, the lieutenant, speaks with me.
What noise is this? What traitors have we here?
Lieutenant, it is you whose voice I hear. Is it you whose voice I hear? Open the gates. Here's Gloucester that would enter.
Have patience, noble Duke. I may not open. The Cardinal of Winchester forbids. From him I have express commandment that thou, nor none of thine, shall be let in.
Faint-hearted Woodvile prizest him for me. Arrogant Winchester, that haughty prelate. From whom Henry, our late sovereign, ne'er could brook. Thou art no friend to God or to king. Open the gates, or I'll shut thee out shortly. Serving men, open the gates unto the Lord Protector, or we'll burst them open if that you come not quickly. Enter to the Protector, and at the Crown Gates, Bishop of Winchester and his men in tawny coats.
How now, ambitious Humphrey, what means this?
Healed priest, dost thou command me to shut out?
I do, thou most usurping prodigal, and not protector of the king or realm.
Stand back, thou manifest conspirator. Thou hast contrivest to murder our dead lord. Thou hast givest whores indulgence to sin. I'll canvass thee in thy broad cardinal's hat, if thou proceed in this thy insolence.
Nay, stand thou back. I will not budge a foot. This be Damascus, be thou cursed Cain, to slay thy brother Abel, if thou wilt.
I will not slay thee, but I'll drive thee back. Thy scarlet robes as a child's bearing cloth I'll use to carry thee out of this place.
Do what thou darest, I beard thee to thy face.
What? Am I dared and bearded to my face? Draw men for all this privileged place. Blue coats to tawny coats. Priest, beware your beard. I mean to tug it and to cuff you soundly. Under my feet I stamp thy cardinal's hat, in spite of pope and dignities of church. Here by the cheeks I'll drag thee up and down.
Gloucester, thou wilt answer this before the Pope.
Winchester goose, I cry, a rope, now, beat them hence, why do you let them stay? Thee I'll chase hence, thou wolf in sheep's array. Out, tawny coats, out, scarlet hypocrite. Here Gloucester's men beat out Bishop of Winchester's men, and enter in the hurly-burly, the mayor of London and officers.
My lords, thank you that you, being supreme magistrates, thus contemptuously should break the peace.
Peace, mayor, thou knowest little of my wrongs. Here, Beaufort, that regards nor God nor king, hast here disdained the tower to his use.
Here's Gloucester, a foe to citizens, one that still motions war and never peace, or charging your free purses with large fines that seeks to overthrow religion because he is protector of the realm and would have armor here out of the tower to crown himself king and suppress the prince.
I will not answer thee with words, but blows ere they skirmish again.
Not rest for me in this tumultuous strife, but to make open proclamation. Come, officer, as loud as e'er thou canst, cry.
All manner of men assembled here in arms, this day against God's peace and the king's, we charge and command you, in his highness's name, to repair to your several dwelling places, and not to wear, handle, or use any sword, weapon, or dagger henceforth, upon pain of death.
Cardinal, I'll be no breaker of the law, but we shall meet and break our minds at large.
Gloucester, we'll meet to thy cost, be sure. Thy heart blood I will have for this day's work.
I'll call for clubs if you will not away. The cardinal's more haughty than the devil.
Mayor, farewell, thou dost but what thou mayest.
Abominable Gloucester, guard thy head, for I intend to have it ere long.
Exeunt servilely Gloucester and Bishop of Winchester with their serving men.
See, the coast cleared, and then we will depart. Good God, these nobles should such stomachs bear. I myself fight not once in 40 years.
Exeunt. Scene 4. Orleans. Enter on the walls a master gunner and his boy.
Is that for Master Gunner, that line?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, okay, so I didn't say. Master Gunner, sire, thou knowest how Orleans is besieged and how the English have the suburbs won.
Father, I know, and oft have shot at them. However unfortunate, I missed my aim.
Is that boys or Master Gunner's next line?
Yeah, it should be Master Gunner now.
Okay, right, okay. Master Gunner, but now thou shalt not be thou ruled by me. Chief Master Gunner, I am of this town. Something I must do to procure me grace. The prince's espiers have informed me how the English in the suburbs, close entrenched, want a secret gate of iron bars in yonder tower to overpeer the city, and thence discover how with most advantage they may vex us with shot or with assault. To intercept this inconvenience, a piece of ordnance against it I have placed, and even these 3 days I have watched, if I could see them. Now, do thou watch, for I can stay no longer. If thou spiest any, run and bring me word, and thou shalt find me at the governor's.
Exit.
Father, I warrant you, take you no care. I'll never trouble you if I may spy them.
Exit. Enter on the turret Salisbury, Talbot, Glensdale, Gargrave, and others.
Talbot, my life, my joy again returned? How wert thou handled being prisoner? Or by what means got thou to be released? Discourse, I prithee, on this turret's top.
The Duke of Bedford had a prisoner called the brave Lord Pontoon de Centralis. For him was I exchanged in ransom, but with a baser man of arms by far. Once in content they would have bartered me, which I disdaining, scorn and crave death, rather than I would be so foul esteemed and fine redeemed. I was as I decided. But oh, the treacherous false that wounds my heart, whom with my bare fist I would execute if I now had him brought into my power.
Yet tellest thou not how thou wert entertained?
With scoffs and scorns and contumelious taunts. In open marketplace produced they me to be a public spectacle to all. Here, said they, is the terror of the French, the scarecrow that affrights our children so, Then broke I from the officers that led me, and with my nails digged stones out of the ground, to hurl at the beholders of my shame. My grisly countenance made others fly, none durst come near for fear of sudden death. In iron walls they deemed me not secure, so great fear of my name amongst them was spread, that they supposed I could rend bars of steel, and spurn in pieces posts of adamant. Wherefore a guard of chosen shot I had, that walked about me every minute while, and if I did but stir out of my bed, ready they were to shoot me to the heart.
Enter the boy with a linstock.
I grieve to hear what torments you endured, but we will be revenged sufficiently. Now it is supper time in Orleans. Here through this grate I count each one, and view the Frenchmen how they fortify. Let us look in. The sight will much delight thee. Sir Thomas Gargrave and Sir William Glansdale, let me have your express opinions. Where is the best place to make our battery next?
I think at the north gate, for there stands lords.
And I here at the bulwark of the bridge. For aught I see, this city must be famished, or with light skirmishes enfeebled.
Here they shoot. Salisbury and Gargrave fall. Sheila, could you read Gargrave, please?
No, I'm Gargrave.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry,
Okay.
go ahead. Never mind, go ahead.
Oh, Lord, have mercy on us, wretched sinners.
Oh, Lord, have mercy on me, woeful man.
What chance is this that suddenly hath crossed us? Speak, Salisbury. At least if thou canst speak, how farst thou mirror of all mortal men? One of thy eyes and thy cheek's side struck off. Accursed tower, accursed fatal hand, that hath contrived this woeful tragedy. In 13 battles, Salisbury o'ercame Henry V. He first trained to the walls, whilst any trump did sound or drum struck up. His sword did near leave striking in the field. Yet life's thou, Salisbury? Though thy speech doth fail, one eye thou hast to look to heaven for grace. The sun with one eye vieweth all the world. Heaven be thou gracious to none alive. If Salisbury wants mercy at thy hand, Sir Thomas Gargrave, hast thou any life? Speak unto Talbot, nay, look up to him. Bear hence his body, I will help to bury it. Salisbury, cheer thy spirit with this comfort. Thou shalt not die whilst he beckons with his hands and smiles on me, as who should say, when I am dead and gone, remember to avenge me on the French. Plantagenet, I will, and like thee, Nero, play on the lute. Beholding the towns burn, wretched shall France be only in my name.
Hear an alarm, and it thunders and lightens.
What stir is this? What tumults in the heavens? Whence cometh this alarmment in the noise?
Enter a messenger.
I think that's my messenger. Yeah.
Think so.
My lord, the French have gathered head. The Dauphin with one Joan La Pucelle joined. A holy prophetess, new risen up, is come with a great power to raise the siege.
Hear how dying Salisbury doth groan. It irks his heart he cannot be revenged. Frenchman, I'll be a Salisbury to you. Pucelle, puzzle. Dolphin or dogfish, your horse I'll stamp out with my horse's heels, and make a quagmire of your mingled brains. Convey we Salisbury into his tent, and then try what these dastard Frenchmen dare.
Alarm, exuent. Scene 5, the same. Here an alarm again, and Talbot pursueth the Dauphin, and driveth him. Then enter Joan Le Pucelle, driving Englishmen before her, and exit after them. Then re-enter Talbot.
Where is my strength, my valor, and my force? Our English troops retire, I cannot stay them. A woman clad in armor chases them.
Re-enter Joan La Pucelle.
Here she comes, I'll have a bout with thee. Devil or devil's dam, I'll conjure thee. Blood would I draw on thee, thou art a witch, and straightway give thy soul to him thou servest.
Come, 'tis only I that must disgrace thee.
Here they fight.
Heavens, can you suffer hell so to prevail? My breast I'll burst with strainer of my courage, and from my shoulders crack my arms asunder. But I will chastise this high-minded strumpet.
They fight again.
Talbot, farewell. Thy hour is not yet come. I must go victual Orleans forthwith.
A short alarm, then enter the town with soldiers.
Or take me if thou canst. I scorn thy strength. Go, go, cheer up thy hungry, starved men. Help Salisbury to make his testament. This day is ours, as many more shall be.
Exit.
My thoughts are whirled like a potter's wheel. I know not where I am nor what I do. A witch by fear, not force like Hannibal, drives back our troops and conquers as she lists. So bees with smoke and doves with noisome stench are from their hives and houses driven away. They called us for our fierceness. English dogs now like to whelps, we cry and run away.
Short alarm.
Hark, countrymen! Either renounce your sword, give sheep and lions stand. Sheep run not from the wolf, or horse or oxen from the leopard, as you fly from your oft-subdued slaves.
Alarm. Here another skirmish.
It will not be. Retire into your trenches. You all consented unto Salisbury's death, for none would strike a stroke in his revenge. Purcell is entered into Orleans, in spite of us or aught that we could do. Oh, would I were to die with Salisbury. The shame hereof will make me hide my head.
Exit. Talbot. Alarm. Retreat. Flourish. Scene 6. The same. Enter on the walls. Joan La Pucelle, Charles, Renier, Alencon, and soldiers.
Advance our waving colors on the walls. Rescued is Orleans from the English. Thus Joan La Pucelle hath performed her word.
The finest creature, Astria's daughter, how shall I honor thee for this success? Thy promises are like Adonis's gardens that one day bloomed and fruitful were the next. France triumphed in thy glorious prophetess. Recovered is the town of Orleans. More blessed hap dare ne'er befall our state.
Why ring not bells loud throughout the town? Dolphin, command the citizens make bonfires and feast and banquet in the open streets to celebrate the joy that God hath given us.
All France will be replete with mirth and joy when they shall hear how we have played the men.
'Tis Joan, not we, by whom the day is won, for which I will divide my crown with her. And all the priests and friars in my realm shall in procession sing her endless praise. A statelier Pyramus to her I'll rear than Rhodos or Memphis ever was, in memory of her when she is dead. Her ashes in an urn more precious than the rich jeweled coffin of Diana. Transported shall be at high festivals before the kings and queens of France. No longer on St. Denis will we cry, but Joan La Pucelle shall be France's saint. Come in and let us banquet royally after this golden day of victory.
Flourish. Exeunt. Act 2. Scene 1. Before Orleans. Enter a sergeant of a band with 2 sentinels.
Sirs, take your place and be vigilant. If any noise or soldier you perceive near to the walls by some apparent sign, let us have knowledge at the court of God.
Sergeant, you shall.
Exit. Sergeant.
Thus are poor servitors, when others sleep upon their quiet beds, constrained to watch in darkness, rain, and cold.
Enter Talbot, Bedford, Burgundy, and forces, with scaling ladders, their drums beating a dead march.
Lord Regent and redoubted Burgundy, by whose approach the regions of Autolus, Walloon, and Picardy are friends to us. This happy night the Frenchmen are secure. Having all day caroused and banqueted, embrace we then this opportunity, as fitting best to acquaintance their deceit contrived by art and baleful sorcery.
Lord of France, How much he wrongs his fame, despairing of his own arms' fortitude to join with witches and the help of hell.
Traitors have never other company. But what's that Pucelle whom they term so pure?
A maid, they say.
A maid? And be so martial.
Pray God she prove not masculine ere long, if underneath the standard of the French she carry armor as she hath begun.
Well, let them practice and converse with spirits. God is our fortress, in whose conquering name let us resolve to scale their flinty bulwarks.
Ascend, brave Talbot. We will follow thee.
Not altogether. Better far, I guess that we do make our entrance several ways. That if it chance the one of us do fail, the other yet may rise against their force.
Agreed. I'll to yonder corner.
And I to this.
And here will Talbot mount or make his grave. Now, Salisbury, for thee and for the right of English Henry shall this night appear. How much in duty I am bound to both.
Arm! Arm! The enemy doth make assault!
Cry St. George, A. Talbot. The French leap over the walls in their shirts, enter several ways, the bastard of Orleans, Alencon, and Renier, half ready and half unready.
Oh, now, my lords, what, all unready so?
Unready? Aye, and glad we escaped so well.
'Twas time, I trow, to wake and leave our beds, hearing alarms at our chamber doors.
Of all exploits since first I followed arms, ne'er heard I of a warlike enterprise more venturous or desperate than this.
I think this Talbot be a fiend of hell.
If not of hell, the heavens sure favor him.
Here cometh Charles. I marvel how he sped.
Tut, holy Joan was his defensive guard.
Enter Charles and Joan Le Pucelle.
Is this thy cunning, thou deceitful dame? Didst thou at first to flatter us withal, make us partake of a little gain, that now our loss might be 10 times so much?
Wherefore is Charles impatient with his friend? At all times will you have my powers alike? Sleeping or waking, must I still prevail, or will you blame and lay the fault on me? Improvident soldiers, had your watch been good, this sudden mischief never would have fallen.
Duke of Alençon, this was your default, that being captain of the watch tonight did look no better to that weighty charge.
Had all your quarters been as safely kept as that whereof I had the government, we had not been thus shamefully surprised.
I was secure.
And so was mine, my lord.
And for myself, most part of all this night, within her quarter and mine own precinct, I was employed in passing to and fro, about relieving of the sentinels. Then, how or which way should they first break in?
Question, my lords, no further of the case, how or which way. 'Tis sure they found some place but weakly guarded, where the breach was made. And now there rests no other shift but this, to gather our soldiers, scattered and dispersed, and lay new platforms to endamage them.
Alarm, enter an English soldier, crying, a Talbot, then fly, leaving their clothes behind.
I'll be so bold to take what they have left. The cry of Talbot serves me for a sword, for I have loaden me with many spoils, using no other weapon but his name.
Exit, scene 2, Orleans, within the town. Enter Talbot, Bedford, Burgundy, a captain, and others.
The day begins to break, and at night is fled, whose pitchy mantle overveiled the earth. Here, sound retreat, and seize our hot pursuit.
Retreat sounded.
Bring forth the body of old Salisbury, and here advance it in the marketplace, the middle center of this cursed town. Now have I paid my vow unto his soul, for every drop of blood was drawn from him. There have at least 5 Frenchmen died tonight, and that hereafter ages may behold what ruin happened in revenge of him. Within their chiefest temple I'll erect a tomb wherein his corpse shall be interred, upon the which that everyone may read shall be engraved the sack of Orleans, the treacherous manner of his mournful death, and what a terror he had been to France. But lords, in all our bloody massacre, I muse we met not with the Dauphin's grace, his new come champion, virtuous Joan of Arc, nor any of his false confederates.
Is that Lord Talbot, when the fight began, roused on the sudden from their drowsy beds, they did amongst the troops of armed men, leaped over the walls for refuge in the field.
Myself, as far as I could well discern, for smoke and dusky vapors of the night, am sure I scared the Dauphin and his troll, when arm in arm they both came swiftly running, like to a pair of loving turtle doves that could not live asunder day or night. After that, things are set in order here. We'll follow them with all the power we have.
Enter a messenger.
All hails, my lords, which of this princely train call you the warlike Talbot for his act, so much applauded through the realm of France? Here's the Talbot. Who will speak with him? The virtuous lady, Countess of
sorry. Could you, Mark, could you take messenger, please?
All hail, my lords.
Yeah, go back.
Which of this princely train call ye the warlike Talbot? For his act so much applaud.
The virtuous lady?
Oh, sorry. The virtuous lady, Countess of Auvergne, with modesty admiring thy renown. By my entreats, great lord, thou wouldst vouchsafe to visit her poor castle where she lies, that she may boast she hath beheld the man, whose glory fills the world with loud report.
Is it even so? Nay, then I see our wars will turn unto a peaceful comic sport, when ladies crave to be encountered with. You may not, my lord, despise her gentle suit.
Nay, trust me then, for when a world of men could not prevail with all their oratory, yet have a woman's kindness overruled, and therefore tell her I return great thanks, and in submission will attend on her. Will not your honors bear me company?
No, truly, it is more manners. It is more than manners will, and I have heard it said, unbidden guests are often welcomest when they are gone.
Well then, alone, since there's no remedy, I mean to prove this lady's courtesy. Come hither, Captain, you perceive my mind.
I do, my lord, and mean accordingly.
Do it. Scene 3. Everdion, the Countess's castle. Enter the Countess and her porter.
Porter, remember what I gave in charge, and when you have done so, bring the keys to me.
Madam, I will.
Exit.
The plot is laid. If all things fall out right, I shall as famous be by this exploit as Scythian Tomrius by Cyrus's death. Great is the rumour of this dreadful knight, and his achievements of no less account. Fain would mine eyes be witness with mine ears to give their censure of these rare reports.
Enter messenger and Talbot.
Right. Madam, according as your ladyship desired, by message craved, so is Lord Talbot come.
Yes, welcome. What, is this the man?
Madam, it is.
Is this the Scourge of France? Is this the Talbot? It's so much feared abroad that with his name the mothers still their babes. I see the report is fabulous and false. I thought I should have seen some Hercules as second Hector for his grim aspect and a large proportion of his strong mid-limbs. Alas, this is a child, a silly dwarf. It cannot be this weak and red-lead shrimp should strike such terror to his enemies.
Madam, I have been bold to trouble you, but since your ladyship is not at leisure, I'll sort some other time to visit you.
What means he now? Go ask him whither he goes.
Stay, my Lord Talbot, for my lady craves to know the cause of your abrupt departure.
Marry, for that she's in a wrong belief. I go to certify her Talbots here.
Re-enter porter with keys.
If thou be he, then art thou prisoner.
Prisoner? To whom?
To me, bloodthirsty lord, and for that cause I trained thee to my house. Long time thy shadow hath been thrall to me, for in my gallery thy picture hangs. But now the substance so endure the like, and I will chain these legs and arms of thine, and hast thy tyranny these many years wasted our country, slain our citizens, and sent our sons and husbands captivate. Laughest thou, wretch? Thy mirth shall turn to moan.
I laugh to see your ladyship so fond to think that you have aught but Talbot's shadow, whereon you practice your severity.
Why, art not thou the man?
I am indeed.
Then have I substance too.
No, I am but shadow of myself. You are to see, my substance is not here. For what you see is but the smallest part, at least proportion of humanity. I'll tell you, man, where the whole frame here, it is of such a spacious, lofty pitch, your roof were not sufficient to contain.
This is a riddling merchant for the nonce. He will be here, and yet he is not here. How can these contrarieties agree?
That will I show you presently.
The wind winds his horn, drums strike up, a peal of ordnance. Enter soldiers.
How say you, ma'am? Are you now persuaded that Talbot is but a shadow of himself? These are his substance, sinews, arms, and strength, which he yoketh your rebellious necks, rasseth your cities, and subverts your towns, and in a moment makes them desolate.
Carius Talbot, pardon my abuse. I find thou art no less than fame hath bruited, and more than may have gathered by thy shape. Let thy presumption not provoke thy wrath, for I am sorry that with reverence I did not entertain thee as thou art.
Oh, be not dismayed, fair lady, nor misconstrued the mind of Talbot as you did mistake the outward composition of his body. What you have done hath not offended me. No other satisfaction do I crave, but only with your patience, that we may taste of your wine, and see what cates you have. For soldiers' stomachs always serve them well.
With all my heart, and think me honored to feast so great a warrior in my house.
Exeunt. Scene 4, London, the Temple Garden. Enter the Earls of Somerset, Suffolk, and Warwick, Richard Plantagenet, Vernon, and another lawyer. Great lords and gentlemen, what means this silence? Dare no man answer in case of truth?
Within the temple hall we were too loud. The garden here is more convenient.
I thought I was Plantagenet.
Hold on. Oh, sorry, if you are. I'm Plantagenet, but
Oh, all right.
like I said. They say at once, if I maintain the truth, or else was wrangling Somerset in the error.
Faith, I have been a truant in the law, and never yet could frame my will to it, and therefore frame the law unto my will.
Somerset.
Missy, you're Somerset. Missy? Okay.
Thank you. Yes, I'm here. Whereabouts are we up to?
We are.
Oh yes, judge you, my lord. Judge you, my lord of Warwick. Then between us.
War between two hawks, which flies the higher pitch, between two dogs, which hath the deeper mouth, between two blades, which bears the better temper, between two horses, which doth bear him best, between two girls, which hath the merriest eye, I have perhaps some shallow spirit of judgment, but in these nice sharp quillets of the law, good faith, I am no wiser than a dog.
Tut, tut. Here is a mannerly forbearance. The truth appears so naked on my side that any purblind eye may find it out.
And on my side it is well apparelled, so clear, so shining, and so evident that will glimmer through a blind man's eye.
Since you are tongue-tied and so loath to speak in dumb significance, proclaim your thoughts. Let him that is a true-born gentleman and stands upon the honor of his birth, if he suppose that I have pleaded truth, from off this briar pluck a white rose with me.
Let him that is no coward, no flatterer, but there maintain the party of the truth, pluck a red rose from this stone with me.
Of no colors, and without all color of base insinuating flattery. I pluck this white rose with Plantagenet.
I pluck this red rose with young Somerset, and say withal I think he held the right.
Stay, lords and gentlemen, and pluck no more, till you conclude that he upon whose side the fewest roses are cropped from the tree shall yield the other in the right opinion.
Good Master Vernon, it is well objected. If I have fewest, I subscribe in silence.
And I,
Richard,
Then for the truth and plainness of the case, I pluck this pale and my maiden blossom here, giving my verdict on the white rose side.
prick not your finger as you pluck it off, lest leading you to paint the white rose red and fall on my side so against your will.
If I, my lord, for my opinion bleed, opinion shall be surgeon to my hurt, and keep me on the side where still I am.
Will, come on, who else?
Unless my study and my books be false, the argument you held was wrong in you. In sign whereof, I pluck a white rose too.
now, Somerset, where is your argument?
Here in my scabbard, meditating that shall dye your white rose in bloody red.
Meantime, your cheeks do counterfeit our roses, for pale they look with fear, as witnessing the truth on our side.
No, Plantagenet, 'tis not for fear, but anger that thy cheeks blush for pure shame to counterfeit our roses, and yet thy tongue will not confess thy error.
Hath not thy rose a canker, Somerset?
Hath not thy rose a thorn, Plantagenet?
Aye, sharp and piercing to maintain his truth, whilst thy consuming canker eats his falsehood.
Well, I'll find friends to wear my bloody gliding roses that shall maintain what I have said is true, where false Plantagenet dare not be seen.
Now, by this maiden blossom in my hand, I scorn thee and thy fashion, peevish boy.
Turn not thy scorns this way, Plantagenet.
Proud Pole, I will and scorn both him and thee.
I'll turn my part thereof unto thy throat.
Away, good William de la Pole. We grace the yeoman by conversing with him.
Brandon, you're muted.
Now by God's will thou wrongest him, Somerset. His grandfather was Lionel, Duke of Clarence, third son to the third Edward, King of England. Spring crestless yeoman from so deep a root.
He bears him on the place's privilege, or does not, for his craven heart say thus.
For him that made me, I'll maintain my words on any plot of ground in Christendom. Was not thy father, Richard Earl of Cambridge, for treason executed in our late king's days? And for his treason standest not thou attainted, corrupted, and exempt from ancient gentry? Is trespass yet lives guilty in thy blood, and till thou be restored, thou art a yeoman.
My father was attached, not attainted, condemned to die for treason, but no traitor, and that I'll prove on better men than Somerset. Were growing time once ripened to my will, for your partaker, Pole, and you yourself, I'll note you in my book of memory, to scourge you from his apprehension. Look to it well, and say you are well warned.
Thou art find us ready for thee still, and know us by these colours for thy foes, but these my friends in spite of thee shall wear.
And by my soul, this pale and angry rose as cognizance of my blood-drinking hate, for I forever and my faction wear, until it wither with me to my grave or flourish to the height of my degree.
Go forward and be choked with thy ambition, and so farewell until I meet thee again.
That exit.
Hip with thee, Paul. Farewell, ambitious Richard.
Exit. Now I am braved and must perforce endure it.
This blot that they object against your house shall be wiped out in the next Parliament, called for the truce of Winchester and Gloucester, and if thou be not then created York, I will not live to be accounted Warwick. Meantime, in signal of my love to thee, against proud Somerset and William Pole will I upon thy party wear this rose, and here I prophesy. This brawl today, grown to this faction in the Temple Garden, shall send between the red rose and the white 1,000 souls to death and deadly night.
Good Master Vernon, I am bound to you, that you, on my behalf, would pluck a flower.
In your behalf still will I wear the same.
And so will I.
Thanks, gentle sir. Come, let us forward to dinner. I dare say this quarrel will drink blood another day. Exeunt, scene 5, the Tower of London. Enter Mortimer, brought in a chair, and gaolers.
Kind keepers of my weak decaying age, let dying Mortimer here rest himself. Even like a man new held from the rack, so fare my limbs with long imprisonment. And these grey locks, the pursuivants of death, nestle like age in the age of care. Argue the end of Edward Mortimer. These eyes like lamps whose wasting oil is spent, wax dim as drawing to the exigent. Weak shoulders, overborne with burdening grief. And pitiless arms, like to a withered vine that droops his sapless branches to the ground. Yet are these feet whose strengthless stay is numb, unable to support this lump of clay. Swing wing with desire to get a grave, as witting I no other comfort have. But tell me, keeper, will my nephew come? And who's playing keeper?
Thelia, do you want to take that one? Shelia, sorry.
Got me? Richard Plantagenet, my lord, will come. We sent unto the temple, unto his chamber, and answer was returned that he will come.
Enough. My soul shall then be satisfied. Poor gentleman, his wrong doth equal mine since Henry Monmouth first began to reign, before whose glory I was great in arms. This loathsome sequestration have I had, and even since then hath Richard been obscured, deprived of honor and inheritance. But now the arbitrator of despair, just death, kind umpire of men's miseries, with sweet enlargement doth dismiss me hence. Hence, I would his troubles likewise were expired, that so he might recover what was lost.
Enter Richard Plantagenet.
My lord, your loving nephew now is come.
Richard Plantagenet, my friend, is he come?
Aye, noble uncle, thus ignobly used, your nephew, late despised Richard comes.
Direct my arms, I may embrace his neck and in his bosom spend my little gasp. Oh, tell me when my lips do touch his cheeks that I may kindly give one fainting kiss, and now declare, sweet stem from your great stock, why dost thou say of late thou wert despised?
First, lean thine aged back against mine arm, and in that case I'll tell thee my disease that day, in argument upon a case. Some words there grew twixt Somerset and me, among which terms he used his lavish tongue, and did upbraid me with my father's death, which obliquely set bars before my tongue. Else with the like I had requited him. Therefore, good uncle, for my father's sake and honor of a true Plantagenet, and for alliance sake, declare the cause my father, Earl of Cambridge, lost his head.
That cause, nephew, that imprisoned me, and hath detained me all my flowing youth. Within a loathsome dungeon, dead to pine, was cursed instrument of his disease.
Discover more at large what cause that was, for I am ignorant and cannot guess.
I will, if that my fading breath permit, and death approach not ere my tale be done. Henry IV, grandfather to this king, disposed his nephew Richard, Edward's son, the first begotten and the lawful heir of Edward King, the third of that descent, during whose reign the Percys of the north, finding his usurpation most unjust, endeavored my advancement to the throne. The reason moved these warlike lords to this was for that. Young Richard thus removed, leaving no heir begotten of his body. I was the next by birth and parentage, for by my mother I derived, and from Lionel, Duke of Clarence, third son to King Edward III, whereas he from John of God doth bring his pedigree, being but fourth of that heroic line, but mark, as in this haughty great attempt, they labored to plant the rightful heir. I lost my liberty and they their lives. Long after this, when Henry V, succeeding his father Bolingbroke, did reign, thy father Earl of Cambridge, then derived from famous Edward Langley, Duke of York, marrying my sister that thy mother was. Again, in pity of my hard distress, levy an army, weaning to redeem and have installed me in the diadem. But as the rest, so fell that noble earl and was beheaded. Thus the Mortimers in whom the title rested was suppressed.
Of which, my lord, your honor is the last.
True. And thou seest that I no issue have, and that my fainting words do warn death. Thou art my heir. The rest I wish thee gather, but yet be wary in thy studious care.
Thy grave's admonishments prevail with me, but yet methinks my father's execution was nothing less than bloody tyranny.
With silence, nephew, be thou politic. Strong fixed is the house of Lancaster, and like a mountain not to be removed. But now thy uncle is removing hands as princes do their course when they are cloyed with long continuance in the settled place.
Oh, uncle, would some part of my young years might but redeem this passage of your age?
Thou dost then wrong me, as that slaughtered dog which giveth many wounds with one will kill. More not, except thou sorrow for my good, only give order for my funeral. So farewell, fair be all thy hopes, and prosperous be thy life in peace and war.
Dies. And peace, no war befall thy parting soul. In prison hast thou spent a pilgrimage, and like a hermit overpast thy days. Well, I will lock his counsel in my breast, and what I do imagine, let that rest. Keepers, convey him hence, and I myself will see his burial better than his life. Exeunt gaolers bearing out the body of Mortimer. Here dies the dusky torch of Mortimer, choked with ambition of the meaner sort, and for those wrongs, those better injuries, which Somerset hath offered to my house, I doubt not, but with honor to redress. And therefore haste I to the Parliament, enter to be restored to my blood, or make my ill the advantage of my good. Exit. Act 3, Scene 1, London, the Parliament House. Flourish. Enter King Henry VI, Exeter, Gloucester, Warwick, Somerset, and Suffolk. The Bishop of Winchester, Richard Plantagenet, and others. Gloucester, Bishop of Winchester. Shelia, could you read for Richard, since I'm reading for Gloucester? It's one of these scenes where everybody's on stage.
I just want to point that it says Richard in my book. Is there another name I should be looking? Oh, I see him. I got it.
Okay. Comest thou with deep premeditated lines, with written pamphlets studiously devised, Humphrey of Gloucester? If thou canst accuse or aught intends to lay upon my charge, do it without invention, suddenly, as I, with sudden and extemporal speech, purpose to answer what thou canst object.
Presumptuous priest, this place commands my presence, or thou shouldst find thou hast dishonored me. Think not, although in writing I preferred the manner of thy vile, outrageous crimes, that therefore I have forged, or am not able verbatim to rehearse the method of my pen. No, prelate, such is thy audacious wickedness, thy lewd, pestiferous, and dissentious pranks, as very infants prattle of thy pride. Thou art a most pernicious usurer, forward by nature enemy to peace, lascivious, wanton more than well beseems a man of thy profession and degree, and for thy treachery, what's more manifest, in that thou layest a trap to take my life, as well at London Bridge as at the Tower. Beside, I fear me, if thy thoughts were sifted, the king, thy sovereign, is not quite exempt from envious malice of thy swelling heart.
Gloucester, I defy thee. Lords, vouchsafe to give me hearing what I shall reply. If I were covetous, ambitious, or perverse, as he will have me, how am I so poor? Or how hapset I seek not to advance or raise myself, but keep my wonted calling? And for dissension, who prefereth peace more than I do, except I be provoked? No, my good lords, it is not that offends. It is not that hath incensed the Duke. It is because no one should sway but he. No one but he should be about the king, and that engenders thunder in his breast, and makes him roar these accusations forth. But he shall know I am as good.
As good, thou bastard of thy grandfather?
Aye, lordly sir. For what are you, I pray, but one imperious in another's throne?
Am I not protector, saucy priest?
And am not I a prelate of the church?
Yes, as an outlaw in a castle useth to patronage his theft.
Unreverend Gloucester.
Thou art reverend, touching thy spiritual function, not thy life.
Rome shall remedy this.
Rome hither then.
My lord, it were your duty to forbear.
I see the bishop be not overborne.
Methinks me lord should be religious and know the office that belongs to such.
Methinks his lordship should be humbler. It fitteth not a prelate so to plead.
Yes, when his holy state is touched so near.
State holy or unhallowed, what of that? Is not his grace protector to the king?
Plantagenet, I see, must hold his tongue, lest it be said, speak, sir, when you should. Must your bold verdict enter talk with lords? Else would I have a fling at Winchester.
Uncles of Gloucester and Winchester, the special watchmen of our English weal, I would prevail, if prayers might prevail, to join your hands in love and amity. Oh, what a scandal it is it to our crown that two such noble peers as ye should jar. Believe me, lords, my tender years can tell civil dissension is a viperous worm that gnaws the bowels of the Commonwealth.
A noise within. Down with the tawny coats.
What tumult's this?
An uproar, I dare warrant, begun through malice of the bishop's men.
A noise again. Stones, stones. Enter mayor.
Oh, my good lords and virtuous Henry, pity the city of London, pity us. The bishop and the Duke of Gloucester's men, forbidden late to carry any weapon, have filled their pockets full of pebble stones, and banding themselves in contrary parts, do pelt so fast at one another's pate that many have their giddy brains knocked out. Our windows are broke down in every street, and for fear compelled to shut our shops.
Enter serving men in skirmish with bloody pates.
We charge you on allegiance to ourself to hold your slaughtering hands and keep the peace. Pray, Uncle Gloucester, mitigate this strife.
Nay, if we be forbidden stones, we'll fall to it with our teeth. Do what you dare, we are resolute.
Skirmish again. You of my household, leave this peevish broil, and set this unaccustomed fight aside. Third serving man, my lord, we know your grace to be a man, just and upright, and for your royal birth, inferior to none but to his majesty, inferior to none but his majesty, and ere that we will suffer such a prince, so kind a father of the Commonwealth, to be disgraced by an inkhorn mate, we and our wives and children all will fight, and have our bodies slaughtered by thy foes. First serving army, and the very parings of our nails shall pitch a field when we are dead. They fight in the fight. Stay, stay, I stay. And if you love me as you say you do, let me persuade you to forbear a while.
Oh, how this discord doth afflict my soul. Can you, my lord of Winchester, behold my sights and tears, and will not once relent? Who should be pitiful if you be not? Or who should study to prefer a peace if holy churchmen take delight in broils?
Yield, my lord protector. Yield, Winchester. Except you mean with obstinate repulse to slay your sovereign and destroy the realm. You see what mischief and what murder too hath been enacted through your enmity? Then be at peace, except ye thirst for blood.
He shall submit, or I will never yield.
Compassion on the king commands me stoop, or I will see his heart out, ere the priest should ever get that privilege of me.
Behold, my lord of Winchester, the Duke hath banished moody, discontented fury. As by his smoothed brows it doth appear, why you look still so stern and tragical?
Here, Winchester, I offer thee my hand.
Fie, Uncle Beaufort. I have heard you preach that malice was a great and grievous sin. And will you not maintain the thing you teach, but prove a chief offender in the same?
Sweet king, the bishop hath a kindly gird. For shame, my lord of Winchester, relent. What shall a child instruct you what to do?
Well, Duke of Gloucester, I will yield to thee. Love for thy love, and hand for hand I give.
Aye, but I fear me with a hollow heart. See here, my friends and loving countrymen, this token serveth for a flag of truce betwixt ourselves and all our followers. So help me God, as I dissemble not.
So help me God, as I intended not.
O loving uncle, kind Duke of Gloucester, how joyful am I made by this contract. Away, my masters, trouble us no more, but join in friendship, as your lords have done.
Attend out to the surgeons. And so will I. And we'll see what physics the tavern affords.
Exeunt serving men, mayor, and company.
Accept this scroll, most gracious sovereign, which is the right of Richard Plantagenet. We do exhibit to your majesty.
Well, urged my lord of Warwick, or sweet prince, and if your grace mark every circumstance, you have great reason to do Richard right, especially for those occasions at Eltham Place I told your majesty.
And those occasions, uncle, were of force. Therefore, my loving lords, our pleasure is that Richard be restored to his blood.
Let Richard be restored to his blood, so shall his father's wrongs be recompensed.
As will the rest, so willeth Winchester.
If Richard will be true, not that alone, but all the whole inheritance I give that doth belong unto the house of York, from whence you spring by lineal descent.
Thy humble servant vows obedience, and humble service till the point of death.
Stoop then, and set your knee against my foot, and in regarding of what duty done, I gird thee with the valiant sword of York. Rise, Richard, like a true Plantagenet, and rise created, princely Duke of York.
And so thrive, Richard, as thy foes may fall, and as my duty springs, so perish they that grudge one thought against your majesty.
Welcome, High
Welcome,
Prince,
my friend.
and mighty Duke of
Mighty
York.
Perish, this prince, ignoble Duke of York.
Now, will it best avail your majesty to cross the seas and to be crowned in France? The presence of a king engenders love amongst his subjects and his loyal friends, as it disseminates his enemies.
When Gloucester says the word, King Henry goes, for friendly counsel cuts off many foes.
Your ships already are in readiness. Senate, flourish, exeunt all but Exeter.
Aye, we may march in England or in France, not seeing what is likely to ensue. This late dissension grown betwixt the peers burns under feigned ashes of forged love, and will at last break out into a flame. As festered members rot but by degree, till bones and flesh and sinews fall away, so will this base and envious discord breed. And now I fear that fatal prophecy, which in the time of Henry named the fifth was in the mouth of every sucking babe. The Henry born at Monmouth shall win all, and Henry born at Windsor lose all. Which is so plain that Exeter doth wish his days may finish ere this hapless time.
Exit. Scene 2, France before Rouen. Enter Joan Le Pucelle, disguised with 4 soldiers with sacks upon their backs.
These are the city gates, the gates of ruin, through which our policy must make a breach. Take heed, be wary how you place your words. Talk like the vulgar sort of market men that come to gather money for their corn. If we have entrance, as I hope we shall, and that we find the slothful watch but weak, I will by a sign give notice to our friends that Charles the Dauphin may encounter them.
Our sack shall be a mean to sack the city, and we be lords and rulers over ruin. Therefore will knock. Qui va?
Mark?
Qui est là?
They saw la pauvre gens de France, poor market folks that come to sell their corn.
Enter. Go in, the market bell is rung.
Now, Royd, I'll shake thy bulwarks to the ground.
Exeunt. Enter Charles, the bastard of Orleans, Alençon, Regnier, and forces.
St. Denis bless this happy stratagem, and once again will sleep secure in ruin.
Helen de Pucelle and her practisants, now she is there. How will she specify where is the best and safest passage in?
By thrusting out a torch from yonder tower, which once the stern shows that her meaning is no way to that, for weakness which she entered.
Enter Joan Le Pucelle on the top, thrusting out a torch burning.
Behold, this is the happy wedding torch that joineth ruin unto her countrymen, but burning fatal to the Talbonites.
Exits.
See, noble Charles, the beacon of our friend, the burning torch in yonder turret stands.
Now shineth like a comet of revenge, a prophet to the fall of all our foes.
Defer no time, delays have dangerous ends. Enter and cry the Dauphin presently, and then do execution on the watch.
Alarm, exuent, an alarm, enter Talbot in an excursion.
France, thou shalt rue this treason with thy tears, and Talbot but suffice thy treachery. Pucelle, that witch, that damned sorceress, hath wrought this hellish mischief unawares, that hardly we escape the pride of France.
Exit. An alarm, excursions, Bedford, brought in sick in a chair. Enter Talbot and Burgundy without. Within Joan Le Pucelle, Charles Bastard of Orleans, Alencon and Regnier on the walls.
Good morrow, gallants. Want ye corn for bread? I think the Duke of Burgundy will fast before he'll buy again at such a rate. 'Twas full of darnel. Do you like the taste?
Scoff on, vile fiend and shameless courtesan. I trust ere long to choke thee with thine own, and make thee curse the harvest of that corn.
Your grace may starve, perhaps, before that time.
Oh, let no words but deeds revenge this treason.
What will you do, good graybeard? Break a lance and run a tilted death within a chair?
O fiend of France and hag of all despite encompass with thy lustful parables. Becomes it thee to taunt his valiant age and twit with cowardice a man half dead? Damn, so I'll have a bout with you again, or else let Talbot perish with the shame.
Are you so hot, sir? Yet, Pucelle, hold thy peace. If Talbot do but thunder, rain will follow. Godspeed the Parliament. Who shall be the speaker?
Dare you come forth and meet us in the field?
Belike your lordship takes us then for fools, to try if that our own be ours or no.
I speak not to that railing Hecate, but unto thee, Allison, and the rest. Will you, like soldiers, come and fight it out?
Seigneur, no.
Senior, hang. Base muleteers of France, like peasant footboys, do they keep the walls and dare not take up arms like gentlemen.
Away, captains, let's get us from the walls, for Talbot means no goodness by his looks. Goodbye, my lord. We came but to tell you that we were here.
Exuent from the walls.
And there will we be too, ere be long, or else reproach be Talbot's greatest fame. Bow, Burgundy, by honor of thy house, prick on by public wrongs sustained in France, either to get the town again or die. And I, as sure as English Henry lives, and as his father here was conqueror, as sure as in this late betrayed town, great Coeur du Lion's heart was buried, so sure I swear to get the town or die.
My vows are equal partners with thy vows.
But here we go, we guard this dying prince, the valiant Duke of Bedford. Come, my lord, we will bestow you in some better place, fitter for sickness and for crazy age.
No, Talbot, do not so dishonor me. Here will I sit before the walls of ruin, and will be partner of your will or woe.
Courageous Bedford, let us now persuade you.
Not to be gone from hence, for whence I read that stout Pendleton in his litter sick came to the field and vanquished his foes. Methinks I should revive the soldiers' hearts, because I ever found them as myself.
Undaunted spirit in a dying breast, and be it so. Heavens keep old Bedford safe, and now no more ado. Brave Burgundy, but gather we our forces out of hand and set upon our boasting enemy.
Exuent all but Bedford and attendants. An alarm, excursions, enter Falstaff and a captain.
Whither away, Sir John Falstaff, in such haste?
Whither away? To save myself by flight. We are like to have the overthrow again.
What? Will you fly and leave Lord Talbot?
Aye, all the Talbots in the world to save my life.
Exit.
Cowardly knight. Ill fortune follow thee.
Exit. Re-enter excursions. Joan La Pucelle, Alan Kahn, and Charles Fly.
Now, quite so, depart when heaven please, for I've seen our enemies overthrow. What is the trust or strength of a foolish man? They that of late were daring with their scoffs are glad and fain to flight to save themselves.
Bedford dies and is carried in by two in his chair. An alarm. Re-enter Talbot, Burgundy, and the rest.
Lost and recovered in a day again. This is a double honor. Burgundy, yet heavens have glory for this victory.
Warlike and martial Talbot, Burgundy enshrines thee in his heart, and there erects thy noble deeds as valor's monuments.
Thanks, gentle duke. But where's Pucelle now? I think her old familiar is asleep. Now where's the bastard's brave and Charles's geeks? What, all mort? Roan hangs her head for grief that such a valiant company are fled. Now will we take some order in the town, place in therein some expert officers, and then depart to Paris to the king? For there young Henry where his nobles lie.
What wills Lord Talbot pleaseth Burgundy?
But yet, before we go, let's not forget the noble Duke of Bedford late deceased. But sees his exquisities fulfilled in Rowan. A braver soldier never couch lands. A gentler heart did never sway in court. The kings and mightiest potentates must die, for that's the end of human misery.
Exeunt. Scene 3, the plains near Rouen. Enter Charles, the bastard of Orleans, Alan Kahn, Joan La Pucelle, and forces.
Dismay not, princes, at this accident, nor grieve the ruin is so recovered. Care is no cure, but rather corrosive, for things that are not to be remedied. Let frantic Talbot try up for a while, and like a peacock sweep along his tail. We'll pull his plumes and take away his train, if Dauphin and the rest will be but ruled.
We have been guided by thee hitherto, and of thy cunning had no diffidence. One sudden foil shall never breed distrust.
Let out thy wit for secret policies, and we will make thee famous through the world.
Set thy statue in some holy place, and have thee reverenced like a blessed saint. Employ thee then, sweet virgin, for our good.
Then thus it must be. This doth Joan devise. By fair persuasions, mixed with sugared words, we will entice the Duke of Burgundy to leave Talbot and to follow us.
Ah, Mary, sweeting, if we could do that. France were no place for Henry's warriors. Nor should that nation boast it so with us, but be extirpated from our providences.
Or ever should they be expulsed from France, and not have title of an earldom here.
Your honor shall perceive how I will work to bring this matter to the wished end. Hark! By the sound of drum you may perceive their powers are marching unto Paris ward.
Here sound the English march, enter and pass over at a distance Talbot and his forces.
There goes the Talbot with his colors spread, and all the troops of English after him.
French march, enter Burgundy and forces.
And now in the rearward comes the Duke of and his. Fortune and favor makes him lag behind. Summon a parley, we will talk with him.
Trumpet sound, a parley.
A parley with the Duke of Burgundy.
Who craves a parley with the Burgundy?
The princely Charles of France, thy countryman.
What sayest thou, Charles? For I am marching hence.
Speak, Pucelle, and enchant him with thy words.
Brave Burgundy, undoubted hope of France, stay, let thy humble handmaid speak to thee.
Speak on, but be not over tedious.
Look on thy country, look on fertile France, and see the cities and the towns defaced by wasting ruin of the cruel foe. As looks the mother on her lowly babe, when death doth close his tender dying eyes, see, see the pining malady of France. Behold the wounds, the most unnatural wounds, which thou thyself hast given her woeful breast. Oh, turn thy edged sword another way. Strike those that hurt, and hurt not those that help. One drop of blood drawn from thy country's bosom should grieve thee more than streams of foreign gore. Return thee, therefore, with a flood of tears, and wash away thy country's stained spots.
Either she hath bewitched me with her words, or nature makes me suddenly relent.
Besides, all French and France exclaims on thee, doubting thy birth and lawful progeny. Who joinest thou with but with thy lordly nation, that will not trust thee but for profit's sake? When Talbot hath set that instrument of ill, who then but English Henry will be lord, and thou be thrust out like a fugitive? Call we to mind, and mark but this for proof. Was not the Duke of Orleans thy foe? And was he not in England prisoner? But when they heard he was thine enemy, they set him free without his ransom paid, in spite of Burgundy and all his friends. See then, thou fight'st against thy countrymen, and joinest with them will be thy slaughtermen. Come, come, return. Return, thy wandering lord. Charles and the rest will take thee in their arms.
I am vanquished. These haughty words of hers have battered me like roaring cannon shot, and made me almost yield upon my knees. Forgive me, country and sweet countrymen, and lords, accept this hearty kind embrace. My forces and my power of men are yours. So farewell, Talbot. I'll no longer trust thee.
Done like a Frenchman. Turn and turn again.
Welcome, brave Duke. Thy friendship makes us fresh.
And doth beget new courage in our breasts.
Giselle hath bravely played her part in this, and doth deserve a coronet of gold.
Now let us on, my lords, and join our powers, and seek how we may prejudice the foe.
Exeunt. Scene 4, Paris, the palace. Enter King Henry VI, Gloucester, Bishop of Winchester, York, Suffolk, Somerset, Warwick, Exeter, Vernon, Bassett, and others. To them with soldiers. Talbot.
My gracious prince and honorable peers, hearing of your arrival in this realm, I have a while given truce unto my walls, to do my duty to my sovereign, in sign whereof this arm that hath reclaimed to your obedience 50 fortresses, 12 cities, and 7 walled towns of strength, besides 500 prisoners of esteem, lest fall his sword before your highness' feet, and with submissive loyalty of heart ascribe the glory of his conquerance, God first to my God, and next unto your grace.
Kneels.
Is this the Lord Talbot, Uncle Gloucester, that hath so long been resident in France?
Yes, if it please your majesty, my liege.
Welcome, brave captain, and victorious lord. When I was young, as yet I am not old, I do remember how my father said, a stouter champion never handled sword. Long since we were resolved of our truth, your faithful service, and your toil in war, yet never have you tasted our reward, or been reguerdoned with so much as thanks, because till now we never saw your face. Therefore, stand up, and for these good deserts, we create you Earl of Shrewsbury, and in our coronation, take your place.
Senate, flourish, exeunt all but Vernon and Bassett.
Now, sir, to you that were so hot at sea, disgracing of these colors that I wear, in honor of my noble lord of York, Darest thou maintain the former words thou spakest?
Yes, sir, as well as you dare patronage the envious barking of your saucy tongue against my lord the Duke of Somerset.
Sarah, thy lord I honor as he is.
Why, what is he? As good as a man of York?
Hark ye, not so. In witness take ye that.
Strikes him.
Villain, thou knowest the law of arms is such that whoso draws a sword to his present death, or else this blow should broach thy dearest blood. But oil unto his majesty and crave I may have liberty to venge this wrong when thou shalt see I'll make thee to die cursed.
Well, miscreant, I'll be there as soon as you, and after meet you sooner than you would.
Exuents. And we are going to take a 5-minute break. So see everybody in 5 minutes.
Okie dokie.
Okay, dokie. That'll work. Fun times, fun times.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And especially at this time, grab some water, liquid, bathroom break. I'll grab a drink now. Oh.
Okay. I guess we're just waiting for Missy and George, and we'll get started.
I'm here. I'm here.
And George, I think, is almost there. George? We can't see you, but are you there? Okay.
I'm there.
Okay. So we'll start. Here we go. Scene 1, Paris, Hall of State. Enter King Henry VI, Gloucester, Bishop of Winchester, York, Suffolk, Somerset, Warwick, Talbot, Exeter, the Governor of Paris, and others. Lord Bishop, set the crown upon his head.
God save King Henry of that name the sixth.
Now, Governor of Paris, take your oath that you elect on no other king but him. Esteem none friends but such as are his friends, and none your foes but such as shall pretend malicious practices against his state. This shall ye do, so help you righteous God. Enter Falstaff.
My gracious sovereign, as I rode from Calais to hasten unto your coronation, a letter was delivered to my hands, writ to your grace from the Duke of Burgundy.
Shame to the Duke of Burgundy and thee. I vowed base night when I did meet the next to tear the garter from thy craven's leg.
Get off.
Which I have done because unworthily thou was installed in that high degree. Pardon me, princely Henry and the rest, this dastard at the battle of Patay, but in all I was 6,000 strong, and that the French were almost 10 to 1. Before we met, or that a stroke was given, like to a trusty squire did run away, in which assault we lost 1,200 men, myself and divers gentlemen besides were there surprised and taken prisoners. Then judge, great lords, if I have done amiss, or whether that such cowards ought to wear this ornament of knighthood, yea or no.
To say the truth, this fact was infamous, and ill beseeming any common man, much more a knight, a captain, and a leader.
When first this order was ordained, my lords, knights of the garter were of noble birth, valiant and virtuous, full of haughty courage, such as were grown to credit by the wars, not fearing death nor shrinking for distress, but always resolute in most extremes. He then that is not furnished in this sort, not but upsearch the sacred name of knight, profaning this most honorable order, and should, if I were worthy to be judged, be quite degraded like a hedge-born swain that doth presume to boast of gentle blood.
Stain to thy countrymen, thou hearest thy doom. Be packing, therefore thou that wast a knight, henceforth we banish thee, on pain of death.
Exit Falstaff.
And now, my Lord Protector, view the letter sent from our uncle Duke of Burgundy.
What means his grace that he hath changed his style? No more but plain and bluntly to the king? Hath he forgot he is sovereign? Or doth this curlish superscription pretend some alteration in good will? What's here? I have upon a special cause moved with compassion of my country's wreck, together with the pitiful complaints of such as your oppression feeds upon, forsaken your pernicious faction, and joined with Charles, the rightful King of France, O monstrous treachery! Can this be so? That in alliance, amity, and oaths there should be found such false dissembling guile?
What? Doth my uncle Burgundy revolt?
He doth, my lord, and is become your foe.
Is that the worst this letter doth contain?
It is the worst at all, my lord, he writes.
Why then, Lord Talbot there shall talk with him, and give him chastisement for this abuse. How say you, my lord? Are you not content?
Content, my liege? Yes, but that I am prevented. I should have begged. I might have been employed.
Then gather strength, and march unto him straight. Let him perceive how ill we brook his treason, and what offense it is to flout his friends.
I go, my lord, in heart desiring still you may behold confusion of your foes.
Exit. Enter Vernon and Bassett.
Grant me the combat, gracious sovereign.
And may, my lord, grant me the combat too.
Carolyn. You're muted.
This is my servant. Hear him, noble prince.
Missy.
Oh, yes, and this is mine, sweet Henry. Favor him.
Be patient, lords, and give them leave to speak. Say, gentlemen, what makes you thus exclaim? And wherefore crave you combat, or with whom?
With him, my lord, for he hath done me wrong.
What is the
And
wrong?
I
What is that wrong whereof you both complain? First, let me know, and then I'll answer you.
and I with him, for he hath done me
Crossing
wrong.
Crossing the sea from England. I think somebody jumped the line.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, okay, good. Your big speech.
Where are we up to?
King Henry. Henry, could you rewind?
What is that wrong whereof you both complain? First, let me know, and then I'll answer you.
Crossing the sea from England into France, this fellow here with envious coping tongue upbraided me about the rose I wear, saying the sanguine colour of the leaves did represent my master's pushing cheeks, when stubbornly he did reprove the truth about a certain question in the law, argued betwixt the Duke of York and him, with other vile and ignominious terms, in confutation of which road reproach and in defence of my lord's worthiness, I crave the benefit of Lord Holmes.
And that is my petition, noble lord. For though he seem with forged quaint conceit to set a gloss upon his bold intent, yet no, my lord, I was provoked by him. And he first took exceptions at this badge, pronouncing that the paleness of this flower bewrayed the faintness of my master's heart.
Will not this malice, Somerset, be left?
Your private judge, my lord of York, will out, though never so cunningly you smother it.
Good lord, what madness rules in brain-sick men, when for so slight and frivolous a cause such factious emulations shall arise? Good cousins both, of York and Somerset, quiet yourselves, I pray, and be at peace.
Let this dissension first be tried by fight, and then your highness shall command a peace.
The Krog touches none but us alone. Betwixt ourselves, let us decide it then.
There is my pledge. Accept it, Somerset.
Nay, let it rest where it began at first.
Confirm it so, mine honourable lord.
Confirm it so. Confounded be your strife, and perish ye with your audacious prates. Consumptuous vassals, are you not ashamed with the immodest, clamorous outrage to trouble and disturb the king and us, And you, my lords, methinks you do not well to bear with their perverse objections, much less to take occasion from their mouths to raise a mutiny betwixt yourselves. Let me persuade you to take a better course.
Grieves his highness, good my lords, be friends.
Come hither, you that would be combatants. Henceforth I charge you, as you love our favor, quite to forget this quarrel and the cause. And you, my lords, remember where we are, in France, amongst a fickle, wavering nation. If they perceive dissension in our looks, and that within ourselves we disagree, how will their grudging stomachs be provoked to willful disobedience and rebel? Beside, what infamy will there arise when foreign princes shall be certified that for a toy, a thing of no regard, King Henry's peers and chief nobility destroyed themselves and lost the realm of France? Oh, think upon the conquest of my father, my tender years, and let us not forego that for a trifle that was bought with blood. Let me be umpire in this doubtful strife. I see no reason, if I wear this rose,
On a red rose.
that anyone should therefore be suspicious I more inclined to Somerset than York. Both are my kinsmen, and I love them both. As well they may upbraid me with my crown, because forsooth the King of Scots is crowned. But your discretions better can persuade than I am able to instruct or teach. And therefore, as we hither came in peace, so let us still continue peace and love. Cousin of York, we institute your grace to be our regent in these parts of France. And, good my lord of Somerset, unite your troops of horsemen with his bands of foot. And like true subjects, sons of your progenitors, go cheerfully together and digest your angry choler on your enemies. After some respite, we'll return to Calais, from thence to England, where I hope ere long to be presented by your victories, with Charles, Alencon, and that traitorous rout.
Flourish, exuent all but York, Warwick, Exeter, and Vernon.
My lord of York, I promise you, the king prettily methought did play the orator.
And so he did, but yet I like it not, in that he wears the badge of Somerset.
Tush, that was but his fancy, blame him not. I dare presume, sweet prince, he thought no harm.
And if I wished he did, but let it rest. Other affairs must now be managed.
Exuent all but Exeter.
Well didst thou, Richard, to suppress thy voice, for had the passions of thy heart burst out, I fear we should have seen deciphered their more rancorous spite, more furious raging broils than yet can be imagined or supposed. But howsoe'er, no simple man that sees this jarring discord of nobility, this shouldering of each other in the court, this factious bandying of their favorites, but that it doth presage some ill event. 'Tis much when scepters are in children's hands, but more when envy breeds unkind division.
Exit. Scene 2 before Bordeaux. Enter Talbot with trump and drum.
Go to the gates of Bordeaux, trumpeters, summon their general unto the wall.
Trumpet sounds. Enter general and others aloft.
English John Talbot, captains, call you forth. Servants in arms to Harry, King of England, and thus he would. Open your city gates. Be humble to us. Call my sovereign yours, and do him homage as obedient subjects. And I would draw me in my bloody power, but if you frown upon this proffered peace, you tempt the fury of my three attendants, lean famine, quartering steel, and climbing fire, who in a moment, even with the earth, shall lay your stately and air-braven towers, if you forsake the offer of their love.
Thou ominous and fearful owl of death, our nation's terror and their bloody scourge, the period of thy tyranny approacheth. On us thou canst not enter but by death, for I protest we are well fortified, and strong enough to issue out and fight. If thou retire, the Dauphin, well appointed, stands with the snares of war to tangle thee. On either hand, thee there are squadrons pitched to wall thee from the liberty of flight, and no way canst thou turn thee for redress, but death doth front thee with apparent spoil, and pale destruction meets thee in the face. 10,000 French have ta'en the sacrament to rive their dangerous artillery upon no Christian soul but English Talbot. Lo, there thou standst, a breathing, valiant man, of an invincible, unconquered spirit. This is the latest glory of thy praise, that I, thy enemy, do thee withal. For ere the glass that now begins to run finish the process of this sandy hour, these eyes that see thee now well colored shall see thee withered, bloody, pale, and dead.
Drum afar off.
Hark! Hark! The Dauphin's drum, a warning bell, sings heavy music to thy timorous soul, and mine shall ring thy dire departure out.
Exuent, General and Company. Talbot.
Oh, where are you at? Oh, sorry, where are you at?
He fables not, I hear the enemy.
It's not, I hear the enemy.
Scene 2, Bordeaux.
Thought I was there. Did I go too far? Sorry.
End of Act 3, Scene 2. Act 4, Scene 2.
Shit. Go my lord, heart society still. You may behold confusion of your foes. The exit. That's it. Okay, go to the gates of Bordeaux. Trumpet, summon that general onto the wall.
He fables not, I hear the enemy.
Okay. Out some light horsemen and pursued their wings. Oh, negligent and heedless. How are we parked and bounded in a pale little herd of England's timorous deer, mazed with a yelping kennel of French curs? If we be English deer, be den in blood, not rascal like to fall down with a pinch, but rather moody, mad, and desperate stags. Turn on the bloody hounds with heads of steel, and make the cowards stand aloof at bay. Sell every man his life as dear as mine, and they shall find dear of us, my friends. God and St. George, top of the English right, prospered our colors in this dangerous fight.
Exuent, Scene 3, the plains of Gascony. Enter a messenger who meets York. Enter York with trumpet and many soldiers.
Not the speedy scouts returned again, that dogged the mighty army of the Dauphin?
They returned, my lord, and give it out that he is marched to Bordeaux with his power to fight with Talbot. As he marched along, by your espials were discovered 2 mightier troops than that the Dauphin led, which joined with him and made their march for Bordeaux.
Plague upon that villain Somerset, that thus delays my promised supply of horsemen that were levied for this siege. Renowned Talbot doth expect my aid, and I am louted by a traitor villain, and cannot help the noble chevalier. God comfort him in this necessity, if he must carry farewell wars in France.
Enter Sir William Lucy.
The princely leader of our English strength, never so needful on the earth of France, spur to the rescue of the noble Talbot, who now is girdled with a waist of iron and hemmed about with grim destruction. To Bordeaux, warlike Duke, to Bordeaux, York. Else farewell, Talbot, France, and England's honor.
Oh God, that Somerset, who in proud heart doth stop my cornets, were in Talbot's place. So should we save a valiant gentleman by forfeiting a traitor and a coward. Mad ire and wrathful fury make me weep, that thus we die while remiss traitors sleep.
Oh, send some succor to the distressed lord.
He dies, we lose. I break my warlike word. We mourn, France smiles, we lose, they daily get. All long this vile traitor Somerset.
Then God take mercy on brave Talbot's soul, and on his son, young John, who 2 hours since I met in travel toward his warlike father. This 7 years did not Talbot see his son, and now they meet where both their lives are done.
Alas, what joy shall noble Talbot have to bid his young son welcome to his grave? Away, vexation almost stops my breath, that sundered friends greet in the hour of death. Lucy, farewell. No more my fortune can, but curse the cause, I cannot aid the man. Maine, Blois, Poitiers, and Tours are won away. Long all of Somerset and his delay.
Exit with his soldiers.
Thus, while the vulture of sedition feeds in the bosom of such great commanders, sleeping neglection doth betray to loss the conquest of our scarce cold conqueror, that ever-living man of memory, Henry V, whilst they each other cross, lives, honors, and lands in all hurry to loss.
Exit scene 4, other plains in Gascony. Enter Somerset with his army, a captain of Talbot's with him.
It is too late. I cannot send them now. This expedition was for York and Talbot too richly plotted. All a general force might with a city of the very town be buckled with. The overdaring Talbot hath sullied all his gloss of former honour by this unhateful, desperate, wild adventure. York set him on to fight and die in shame, that Talbot dead, great York might bear the name.
Here is Sir William Lucy, who with me set forth o'er-matched forces forth for aid. Enter Sir William Lucy.
You know, Sir William, whither were thou sent?
Whither, my lord? From bought and sold Lord Talbot, who ringed about with bold adversity, cries out for noble York and Somerset, to beat assailing death from his weak legions. And whiles the honorable captain there drops bloody sweat from his war-wearied limbs, and in advantage lingering looks for rescue, you, his false hopes, the trust of England's honor, keep off aloof with worthless emulation. Let not your private discord keep away the levied succors that should lend him aid, while he, renowned noble gentleman, yields up his life unto a world of odds. Orlean the bastard, Charles, Burgundy, Alencon, Rainer, compass him about, and Talbot perisheth by your default.
York city moon. York should have sent him aid.
And York as fast upon your grace exclaims, swearing that you withheld his levied host, collecting for this expedition.
York lies. He might have sent and had the horse. I who owe him little duty and less love, and take fell scorn to fawn on him by sending.
The fraud of England, not the force of France, hath now entrapped the noble-minded Talbot. Never to England shall he bear his life, but dies, betrayed to fortune by your strife.
Come, go. I will dispatch the horsemen straight. Within 6 hours they will be at his aid.
Too late comes rescue. Is Taenor slain? For fly he could not, if he would have fled, and fly would Talbot never, though he might.
If he be dead, brave Talbot, then adieu.
His fame lives in the world, his shame in you.
Exeunt, scene 5, the English camp near Bordeaux. Enter Talbot and John, his son.
O young John Talbot, I did send for thee to tutor thee in stratagems of war, that Talbot's name might be in thee revived when sapless age and weak, unable limbs should bring thy father to his drooping chair. But malignant and ill-boding stars, now thou art come unto a feast of death, a terrible and unavoided danger. Therefore, dear boy, mount on my swiftest horse, and I'll direct thee how thou shalt escape by sudden flight. Come, daily not be gone.
Is my name Talbot? And am I your son? And shall I fly? Oh, if you love my mother, dishonor not her honorable name to make a bastard and a slave of me. The world will say he is not Talbot's blood that falsely fled when noble Talbot stood.
Fly to revenge my death if I be slain.
He that flies so will ne'er return again.
If we both stay, we both are sure to die.
Then let me stay, and father, do you fly. Your loss is great, so your regard should be. My worth unknown, no loss is known in me. Upon my death the French can little boast. In yours they will, and you, all hopes are lost. Fight cannot stain the honor you have won, but mine it will, and no exploit have done. You fled for vantage, everyone will swear, but if I bow, they'll say it was for fear. There is no hope that ever I will stay, if the first hour I shrink and run away. Here, on my knee, I beg mortality, rather than life preserved with infamy.
Shall all thy mother's hope lie in one tomb?
Aye, rather than I'll shame my mother's womb.
Upon my blessing I can command thee go.
To fight I will, but not to fly the foe.
Part of thy father may be saved in thee.
No part of him, but will be shame in me.
Thou never hast renown, nor canst not lose.
Yes. Yes, your renowned name. Shall flight abuse it?
Thy father's charge shall clear thee from thy stain.
You cannot witness for me being slain. If death be so apparent, then both fly.
And leave my followers here to fight and die? My age was never tainted with such shame.
And shall my youth be guilty of such blame? No more can I be severed from your side than can yourself in twain divide. Stay, go, do what you will. The like do I, for live I will not if my father die.
Then here I take my leave of thee, fair son, born to eclipse thy life this afternoon. Come, side by side together live and die, and so from France to heaven fly.
Exeunt, scene 6, a field of battle, alarm, excursions, wherein John Talbot is hemmed about and Talbot rescues him.
Think Georgian victory, fight soldiers, fight! The regent hath with Talbot broke his word and left us to the rage of France's sword. Where's John Talbot? Pause and take thy breath. I gave thee life and rescued thee from death.
Oh, twice my father, twice am I thy son. The life thou gavest me was lost and done, till with thy warlike sword, despite of late, to my determined time thou gavest new date.
When from the darkness crest thy sword struck fire, it warmed thy father's heart with proud desire of bold-faced victory. Then leading age, a cooking with youthful spleen and warlike wage, beat thou Alison, Orleans, Burgundy, and from the pride of Gallia rescued thee. The ireful bastard Orleans that drew blood from thee, my boy, and had the maidenhood of thy first flight, I soon encountered in interchanging blows. I quickly shed some of his bastard blood, and in disgrace be spoken thus. Contaminated, base, and begotten blood I spill of thine. Mean and right core for that pure blood of mine which thou didst force from Talbot, my brave boy. Here purposing the bastard to destroy came a strong rescue. Speak, thy father's care. Art thou not weary, John? How dost thou fare? Wilt thou yet lead the battle, boy, and fly now thou art sealed the son of chivalry? Fly to revenge my death when I am dead. The health of one stands, me and little steed. Oh, too much folly is it. Well, I wot to hazard all our lives in one small boat. If I today die not with Frenchman's rage, tomorrow I shall die with mickle age. By me they nothing gain. And if I stay, 'tis but the shortening of my life one day. Indeed, thy mother dies. Our household's name, my death's revenge. Thy youth and English fame, all these and more we hazard by thy stay. All these are saved, but thou wilt fly away.
The sword of Orleans hath made me smart. These words of yours draw lifeblood from my heart. On that advantage, bought with such a shame, to save a paltry life and slay bright fame, before young Talbot from old Talbot fly, the coward horse that bears me fail and die, and like me to the peasant boys of France, to be shame scorn and subject of mischance. Surely, by all the glory you have won, and if I fly, I am not Talbot's son. Then talk no more of flight. It is no boot. If son to Talbot, die at Talbot's foot.
Then follow thou thy desperate sire of Crete, thou Icarus, thy life to me is sweet, that thou wilt fight by thy father's side, and commendable prove let's die in pride.
Exeunt, scene 7. Another part of the field, alarm, excursions enter Talbot, led by his servants.
Where's my other life? My own is gone. Oh, where's young Talbot? Where's valiant John? Triumphant death, smeared with captivity. Young Talbot's valor makes me smile at thee, when he perceived me shrink and on my knee. His bloody sword he brandished over me, and like a hungry lion did commence rough deeds of rage and stern impatience. But when my angry guardian stood alone, tendering my ruin and assailed of none, dizzy-eyed fury and great rage of heart suddenly made him from my side and start into the clustering battle of the French. And in that sea of blood my boy did drench his over-mounting spirit, and there died my Icarus, my bosom, and my pride.
Oh, my dear Lord, lo, where your son is born.
Thou antic death, which laughs us here to scorn, anon from thy insulting tyranny, coupled in bonds of perpetuity, 2 Talbots ring through the littered sky, and thy despite shall escape mortality. O thou whose wounds become hard-favored death, speak to thy father ere thou yield thy breath. Brave death by speaking, whether he will or no, imagine him a Frenchman and thy foe. Poor boy, he smiles, methinks, as who should say, had death been French, then death had died today. Come, and lay him in his father's arms. My spirit can no longer bear these harms. Soldiers, adieu. I have what I would have, now my old arms are young. John Talbot's grave.
Enter Charles Alarcon, Burgundy, Bastard of Orleans, Joan La Pucelle, and forces. Charles. Charles.
Who's Charles?
Oh, Brandon, you're muted.
Sorry, okay. Had York and Somerset brought rescue in, we should have found a bloody day of this.
The young whelp of Talbot's raging wood did flesh his pony sword in Frenchman's blood.
Once I encountered him, and thus I said, thou maiden youth, be vanquished by a maid. But with a proud, majestical, high scorn, he answered thus, young Talbot was not born to be the pillage of a giglet wench. So, rushing into the bowels of the French, he left me proudly, as unworthy fight.
Doubtless he would have made a noble knight. See where he lies enhearsed in the arms of the most bloody nurser of his harms.
Hew them to pieces, hack their bones asunder, whose life was England's glory, Galilea's wonder.
Oh no, forbear, for that which we have fled during the life, let us not wrong their dead.
Enter Lucy with attendants and a French herald.
Herald, conduct me to the Dauphin's tent, to know who hath obtained the glory of the day.
On what submissive message art thou sent?
Submission, Dauphin? 'Tis a mere French word. We English warriors wot not what it means. I come to know what prisoners thou hast ta'en, and to survey the bodies of the dead.
For prisoners, askest thou? Hell our prison is. But tell me whom thou speakest.
But where is the great Alcides of the field, valiant Lord Talbot, Earl of Shrewsbury, created for his rare success in arms, great Earl of Waterford, and Valence, Lord Talbot of Goodring and Urchinfield, Lord Strange of Blackmere, Lord Verdun of Alton, Lord Cromwell of Wingfield, Lord Furnival of Sheffield, the thrice victorious Lord of Falconbridge, Knight of the Noble Order of St. George, worthy St. Michael and the Golden Fleece, great Marshal to Henry VI, of all his wars within the realm of France.
Here's a silly, stately style indeed. The Turk that 52 kingdoms hath writes not so tedious a style as this. Him that thou magnifiest with all these titles, stinking and fly-blown, lies here at our feet.
Is Talbot slain? The Frenchman's only scourge, your kingdom's terror and black nemesis? Were mine eyeballs into bullets turned, that I in rage might shoot them at your faces? Oh, that I could but call these dead to life. It were enough to fright the realm of France. Were but this picture left amongst you here, it would amaze the proudest of you all. Give me their bodies, that I may bear them hence, and give them burial as beseems their worth.
I think this upstart is old Talbot's ghost. He speaks with such a proud, commanding spirit. Oh, for God's sake, let him have them. To keep them here, they would but stink and putrefy the air.
Oh, take their bodies hence.
I'll bear them hence, but from their ashes shall be reared a phoenix that shall make all France afeared.
So we be rid of them. Do with them what thou wilt. And now to Paris. In this conquering vein, all will be ours. Now bloody Talbot slain.
For exit, Act 5, Scene 1. Senate enter King Gloucester and Exeter with attendants. King Henry.
Have you perused the letters from the Pope, the Emperor, and the Earl of Armagnac?
Gloucester.
I have, my lord. Their intent is this. They humbly sue unto your excellence to have a goodly peace concluded between the realms of England and France.
How doth your grace affect their motion?
Well, my good lord, and as the only means to stop effusion of our Christian blood and establish quietness on every side. Vince.
Aye, merry uncle, for I always thought it was both impious and unnatural that such enmity and bloody strife should reign among professors of one faith.
Vince, Act 5, Scene 1.
I'll do it.
Yep.
I got it. Where are we?
1, 2,
Act 5,
your
Scene
third,
1.
your third line. Your third.
Okay. Well, my good lord, is that it?
The next one, besides my lord.
Beside my lord.
Hold
The
on.
next one.
Beside my lord, the sooner to effect and sure bind this knots of amity. The Earl of Armagnac, near knit to Charles, a man of great authority in France, proffers his only daughter to your grace in marriage with a large and sumptuous dowry.
Marriage, uncle? Alas, my years are young, and fitter is my study in my books than wanton dalliance with a paramour. Yet call the ambassador, and as you please, so let them have their answers every one. I shall be well content with any choice tends to God's glory and my country's weal.
Enter Cardinal of Winchester in cardinal's habit, a legate and 2 ambassadors.
What? Is my Lord of Winchester installed and called into a cardinal's degree? Then I perceive that will be verified. Henry V did sometime prophesy. If once he came to be a cardinal, he'd make his cap co-equal with the crown.
My lords ambassadors, your several suits have been considered and debated on, and therefore are we certainly resolved to draw conditions of a friendly peace, which by my Lord of Winchester we mean shall be transported presently to France.
And for the proffer of my lord, your master, I have informed his highness so at large as liking of the lady's virtuous gifts, her beauty, and the value of her dower, he doth intend she shall be England's queen.
In argument and proof of which contract, bear her this jewel, pledge of my affection, and so, my lord protector, see them guarded, and safely brought to Dover, where in ship commit them to the fortune of the sea.
Exeunt all but Cardinal Winchester and Legate.
Stay, my lord Legate. You shall first receive the sum of money which I promised should be delivered to his holiness for clothing me in these grave ornaments.
I will attend upon your lordship's leisure.
Now Winchester will not submit, I trow, or be inferior to the proudest peer. Humphrey of Gloucester, thou shalt well perceive that neither in birth or for authority the bishop will be overborne by thee. I'll either make thee stoop and bend thy knee, or sack this country with a mutiny.
Exeunt. Scene 2. France. Plains of Ennui. Enter Charles Burgundy, Alençon, Bastard of Orleans, Regnier, Joan Le Plessis, and forces.
These news, my lord, may cheer our drooping spirits. 'Tis said the Parisians do revolt and turn again, and like the warlike French.
Then march to Paris, Royal Charles of France, and keep not back your powers in dalliance.
Feast be amongst them if they turn to us, else ruin combat with their palaces.
Enter Scout. Success unto our valiant generals and happiness to his accomplices.
What tidings sends our scouts? I pray thee speak.
The English army that divided was into two parties is now conjoined into one and means to give you battle presently.
Somewhat too sudden, sir, the warning is, but we will presently provide for them.
I trust the ghost of Talbot is not there. Now he is gone, my lord. You need not fear.
Of all base passions, fear is most accursed. Command the conquest, Charles, it shall be thine. Let Henry fret and all the world repine.
And on, my lords, and France be fortunate.
They exit. Scene 3. Excursions into Joan Le Pucelle.
The regent conquers and the Frenchmen fly. Now help, ye charming spells and periapts, and ye choice spirits that admonished me, and give me signs of further accidents.
Thunder.
Speedy helpers that are substitutes under the lordly monarch of the north, appear and aid me in this enterprise.
Enter Fiends.
This speedy and quick appearance argues proof of your accustomed diligence to me. Now, familiar spirits that are called out of the powerful regions under earth, help me this once, that France may get the field.
They walk and speak not.
Hold me not with your silence over long. Where I was wont to feed you with my blood, I will lop a member off and give it to you to earnest of a further benefit, so you do condescend to help me now.
They hang their heads.
No hope to have redress? My body shall pay recompense if you will grant me thy suit.
They shake their heads.
Canst my body nor blood sacrifice entreat you to your wanted furtherance? Then take my soul, my body, soul, and all, before that England give the French the foil.
They depart.
See, they forsake me. Now the time is come that France must veil her lofty plumed crest and let her head fall into England's lap. My ancient incantations are too weak, and hell too strong for me to buckle with. Now, France, thy glory droopeth to the dust.
Exits. Excursions re-enter Joan Le Pucelle. Fighting hand to hand with York, Joan Le Pucelle is taken. The French fly.
Damsel of France, I think I have you fast. Unchain your spirits now with spelling charms, and try if they can gain your liberty. A goodly prize, fit for the devil's grace. See how the ugly wench doth bend her brows, as if with Circe she would change my shape.
Change to a worser shape thou canst not be.
Oh, Charles the Dauphin is a proper man. No shape but his can please your dainty eye.
Plaguing mischief light on Charles and thee. And may ye both be suddenly surprised by bloody hands and sleeping on your beds.
Fell banning hag, enchantress, hold thy tongue.
I prithee, give me leave to curse a while.
Curse, miscreant, when thou comest to the stake.
Exuberant, alarm, enter Suffolcan with Margaret in his hand.
Be what thou wilt, thou art my prisoner. Oh,
Gazes out her.
beauty, do not fear or fly, for I will touch thee but with reverent hands. I kiss these fingers for eternal peace and lay them gently on thy tender side. Who art thou? Say that I may honor thee.
Margaret my name, and daughter to a king, the King of Naples, whosoever thou art.
An earl I am, and Suffolk am I called. Be not offended, nature's miracle. Thou art allotted to be taken by me. So doth the swan her downy signet save, keeping them prisoner underneath her wings. Yet if this servile usage once offend, go and be free again as Suffolk's friend. Oh, stay! I have no power to let her pass. My hand would free her, but my heart says no. As plays the sun upon the glassy streams, twinkling another counterfeited beam, so seems this gorgeous beauty to mine eyes. Fain would I woo her, yet I dare not speak. I'll call for pen and ink and write my mind. Fie, till appalled, disable not myself. Hast thou not a tongue? Is she not here? Wilt thou be daunted at a woman's sight? Ay, beauty's princely majesty is such confounds the tongue and makes the senses rough.
Say, Earl of Suffolk's, if thy name be so, what ransom must I pay before I pass? For I perceive I am thy prisoner.
How canst thou tell me she will deny thy suit before thou make a trial of her love?
Why speakest thou not? What ransom must I pay?
She is beautiful, and therefore to be wooed. She is a woman, therefore to be won.
Wilt thou accept of ransom? Yea or no?
Fond man, remember thou hast a wife. Then how can Margaret be thy paramour?
I were best to leave him, for he will not hear.
There all is marred. There lies a cooling card.
He talks at random, there lies a cooling card. Oh, he talks at random. Sure, the man is mad.
And yet a dispensation may be had.
And yet I would that you would answer me.
I will win this Lady Margaret. For whom? Why, for my king. Tush, there's a wooden thing.
He talks of wood? Is some carpenter.
Yet so my fancy may be satisfied, and peace established between these realms. But there remains a scruple in that too, for though her father be the King of Naples, Duke of Anjou and Maine, yet he is poor, and our nobility will scorn the match.
Hear ye, Captain, are you not at leisure?
It shall be so, disdain they ne'er so much. Henry is youthful and will quickly yield. Madam, I have a secret to
reveal. Sorry.
I have a secret to reveal.
What though I be enthralled? He seems a knight and will not any way dishonor me.
Lady, vouchsafe to listen to what I have to say.
Perhaps I shall be rescued by the French, and then I need not crave his courtesy.
Sweet madam, give my hearing in a cause.
Tush, women have been captivated ere now.
Lady, wherefore talk you so?
I cry you mercy, 'tis but quid for quo.
Say, gentle princess, would you not suppose your bondage happy to be made a queen?
To be a queen in bondage is more vile than is a slave in base servility. The princess should be free.
And so shall you, if happy England's royal king be free.
Why, what concerns this freedom unto me?
I'll undertake to make thee Henry's queen, to put a golden scepter in thy hand, and set a precious crown upon thy head, if thou wilt condescend to be my
What?
his love.
I am unworthy to be Henry's wife.
No, gentle madam, I unworthy am to woo so fair a dame to be his wife, and have no portion in the choice myself. How say you, madam? Are you so content?
And if my father please, I am content.
Then call our captains and our colors forth, and madam, at your father's castle walls will crave a parley to confer with him.
A parley sounded. Enter Renier on the walls.
See, Renier, see thy daughter prisoner?
To whom?
To me.
Suffolk? What remedy? I am a soldier and unapt to weep or to exclaim on fortune's fickleness.
Yes, there is remedy enough, my lord. Consent, and for thy honor give consent. Thy daughter shall be wedded to my king, whom I with pain have wooed and won thereto. And this, her easy held imprisonment, hath gained by thy daughter princely liberty.
Speaks Suffolk as he thinks?
Fair Margaret knows that Suffolk doth not flatter, face, or feign.
Upon thy princely warrant, I descend to get the answer of thy just demand.
Sit
And
from the walls.
Here I will expect thy coming.
Trumpets
Welcome,
sounded.
brave.
Renier below.
Welcome, brave Earl, into our territories, commanding to do what your honor pleases.
Thanks, Renier. Happy for so sweet a child, fit to be made companion with a king. What answer makes your grace unto my suit?
Since thou dost deign to woo her good worth to be the princely bride of such a lord, upon condition I may quietly enjoy my own, the country maiden adjured, free from oppression or the stroke of war. My daughter shall be Henry's, if he please.
That is her ransom. I deliver her, and these 2 counties I will undertake your grace shall well and quietly enjoy.
And I, again in Henry's royal name as deputy unto that gracious king, get thee her hand for sign of plighted faith.
Renier of France, I give thee kingly thanks, because this is in traffic of a king, and yet methinks I could well be content to be mine own attorney in this case. I'll over then to England with this news, and make this marriage to be solemnized. So farewell, Renier. Set this diamond safe in golden palaces as it becomes.
I do embrace thee, as I would embrace the Christian prince, King Henry, were he here.
Farewell, my lord. Good wishes, praise, and prayers.
Going.
Farewell, sweet madam. But hark you, Margaret, no princely commendations to my king?
Such commendations as becomes a maid, a virgin, and his servants say to him.
Words sweetly placed and modestly directed. But madam, I must trouble you again. No loving token to his majesty?
Yes, my good lord, a pure and unspotted heart, yet never taint with love, I send the king.
And this was all.
This is her.
That for thyself I will not so presume to send such peevish tokens to a king.
Exeunt Renier and Margaret.
Oh, wert thou for myself. Suffolk, stay. Thou mayst not wander into that labyrinth. There minotaurs and ugly treasons lurk. Solicit Henry with her wondrous praise. Bethink thee on her virtues that surmount, and natural graces that extinguish art. Repeat their semblance often on the seas, that when thou comest to kneel at Henry's feet, thou mayst bereave him of his wits with wonder.
Exit. Scene 4, the camp of the York in Ennui. Enter York, Warwick, and others.
Bring forth that sorceress condemned to burn.
Enter Joan La Pucelle, guarded and a shepherd. Ah, Joan, this kills thy father's heart outright. Have I sought every country far and near, and now it is my chance to find thee out. Must I behold thy timeless, cruel death? Ah, Joan, sweet daughter Joan, I'll die with thee.
Decrepit miser, base and noble wretch, I am descended of a gentler blood. Thou art no father nor no friend of mine.
Out, my lords, and please you, 'tis not so. I did beget her, all the parish knows. Her mother liveth yet, can testify she was the first fruit of my bachelorship.
Graceless. Wilt thou deny thy parentage?
This argues what her kind of life hath been, wicked and vile, and so her death concludes.
Fie, Joan, that thou wilt be so obstacle. God knows thou art a callop of my flesh, and for thy sake have I shed many a tear. Deny me not, I prithee, gentle Joan.
Peasant avaunt! You have suborned this man of purpose to obscure my noble birth.
'Tis true I gave a noble to the priest. The morn that I was wedded to her mother, kneel down and take my blessing. Good my girl, wilt thou not stoop? Now, cursed be the name of thy nativity. I would the milk thy mother gave thee when thou suckest her breast had been a little rat's bane for thy sake, or else when thou did keep my lambs afield, I wish some ravenous wolf had eaten thee. Dost thou deny thy father, cursed drab? Oh, burn her. Burn her, hanging is too good. Exit.
Take her away, for she hath lived too long to fill the world with vicious qualities.
First, let me tell you whom you have condemned. Not me begotten of a shepherd swain, but issued from the progeny of kings, virtuous and holy, chosen from above by inspiration of celestial grace to work exceeding miracles on earth. I never had to do with wicked spirits, but you that are polluted with your lust, stained with the guiltless blood of innocence, corrupt and tainted with 1,000 vices, because you want the grace that others have, you judge it straight, a thing impossible to compass wonders but by help of devils? No, misconceived. Joan of Arc hath been a virgin from her tender infancy, chaste and immaculate in every thought, whose maiden blood, thus rigorously effused, will cry for vengeance at the gates of heaven.
Aye, away with her to execution.
And hark ye, sirs, because she is a maid, spare for no faggots, let there be place barrels of pitch upon the fatal stake, so that her torture may be shortened.
Will nothing turn your unrelenting hearts? Then, Joan, discover thine infirmity, that warranteth by law to be thy privilege. I am with child, yet bloody homicides. Murder not then the fruit within my womb, although ye hail me to violent death.
Now heaven forfend the holy maid with child.
The greatest miracle that e'er ye wrought. Is all your strict preciseness come to this?
She and the dauphin have been juggling. I did imagine what would be her refuge.
Well, go to. We'll have no bastards live, especially since Charles must father it.
You are deceived. My child is none of his. It was Alençon that enjoyed my love.
Alençon, that notorious Machiavel, it dies. And if it had 1,000 lives.
Oh, give me leave. I have deluded you. 'Twas neither Charles nor yet the Duke I maimed, but Regnier, King of Naples, that prevailed.
A married man? That's most intolerable.
Why, here's a girl. I think she knows not well there were so many whom she may accuse.
It's a sign she has been liberal and free.
And yet, forsooth, she is a virgin pure. Strumpet, thy words condemn thy brat and thee. Use no entreaty, for it is in vain.
Then lead me hence, with whom I leave my curse. May never glorious sun reflect his beams upon the country where you make abode, but darkness and the gloomy shade of death environ you, till mischief and despair drive you to break your necks or hang yourselves.
Exit guarded.
Break thou into pieces and consume to ashes, thou foul accursed minister of hell.
Enter Cardinal of Winchester attended. George, you're muted.
Lord Regent, I do greet your excellence with letters of commission from the king. For know, my lords, the states of Christendom, moved with remorse of these outrageous broils, have earnestly implored a general peace betwixt our nation and the aspiring French. And here at hand, the Dauphin and his train approacheth to confer about some matter.
It is all of our travail turned to this effect. After the slaughter of so many peers, so many captains, gentlemen, and soldiers, that in this quarrel have been overthrown and sold their bodies for their country's benefit, shall we at last conclude effeminate peace? Have we not lost most part of all the towns by treason, falsehood, and by treachery our great progenitors had conquered? Oh, Warwick, I foresee with grief the utter loss of all the realm of France.
Patient York, if we conclude a peace, it shall be with such strict and severe conventance, a little shall the Frenchman gain thereby.
Enter Charles Alencon, Bastard of Orleans, Regnier, and others.
Since Lord of England, it is thus agreed that peaceful truce shall be proclaimed in France. We come to be informed by yourselves what the conditions of that league must be.
Speak, Winchester, for boiling choler chokes the hollow passage of my poisoned voice by sight of these our baleful enemies.
Charles and the rest, it is enacted thus, that in regard King Henry gives consent of mere compassion and of lenity to ease your country of distressful war and suffer you to breathe in fruitful peace, you shall become true liegemen to his crown. And Charles, upon condition thou wilt swear to pay him tribute and submit thyself, thou shalt be placed as viceroy under him and still enjoy the regal dignity.
Must he be then a shadow of himself, adorn his temples with a coronet, and yet in substance and authority retain but privilege of a private man? His proffer is absurd and reasonless.
'Tis known already that I am possessed with more than half the Gallian territories, and therein reverenced for thy lawful king. Shall I, for lucre of the rest unvanquished, distract so much from that prerogative as to be called but viceroy of the whole? Oh no, Lord Ambassador, I'd rather keep the which I have then, coveting for more, be cast from possibility of all.
Insulting Charles, hast thou by secret means used intercession to obtain a league, and now the matter grows to compromise? Standst thou aloof upon comparison? Either accept the title thou usurpst, of benefit proceeding from our king, and not of any challenge of desert, or we will plague thee with incessant wars.
My lord, you do not well in obstinacy to fulfill in the course of this contract. If once it be neglected, 10 to 1 we shall not find like opportunity.
To say the truth, it is your policy to save your subjects from such massacre and ruthless slaughters as are daily seen by our proceeding in hostility. And therefore take this compact of a truce, although you break it when your pleasure serves.
How sayest thou, Charles? Shall our conditions stand? It shall. Only reserved you claim no interest in any of our towns of garrison.
Then swear allegiance to his majesty, as thou art knight, never to disobey, nor be rebellious to the crown of England. Thou, nor thy nobles, to the crown of England. So now dismiss your army when you please. Hang up your ensign, let your drums be still, for here we entertain a solemn peace.
Exeunt. Scene 5, London, the palace. Enter Suffolk in conference with King Henry VI, Gloucester, and Exeter.
Your wondrous rare description, noble Earl, of beauteous Margaret hath astonished me. Her virtues, graced with external gifts, do breed love's settled passions in my heart. And like as rigor as tempestuous gusts provokes the mightiest hulk against the tide, so am I, driven by breath of her renown, either to suffer shipwreck or arrive where I may have fruition of her love.
Tush, my good lord, this superficial tale is but a preface of her worthy praise. The chief perfections of that lovely dame, had I sufficient skill to utter them, would make a volume of enticing lines able to ravish any dull conceit. And which is more, she is not so divine, so full replete with choice of all delights, but with this humble lowliness of mind, she is content to be at your command. Command, I mean, of virtuous, chaste intents, to love and honor Henry as her lord.
And otherwise will Henry ne'er presume. Therefore, my Lord Protector, give consent that Margaret may be England's royal queen.
So should I give content to flatter sin. You know, my lord, your highness is betrothed unto another lady of esteem. How shall we then dispense with that contract?
Okay,
and
but I'm
not
still
dispense your honor with reproach.
Doth a ruler with unlawful oaths, or one that at a triumph, having vowed to try his strength, forsaketh yet the lists by reason of his adversaries' odds? A poor earl's daughter is unequal odds, and therefore may be broke without offense.
Why, what I pray, is Margaret more than that? Her father is no better than an earl, although in glorious titles in excel.
No, yes, my lord, her father is a king, the king of Naples and Jerusalem, and of such great authority in France as his alliance would confirm our peace and keep the Frenchmen in allegiance.
And so the Earl of Armagnac may do, because he is near kinsman unto Charles.
Beside, his wealth doth warrant a liberal dower, wherein ye sooner will receive than give.
A dower, my marriage is a matter of more worth than to be dealt with in by attorneyship. Not whom we will, but whom his grace affects, must be companion of his nuptial bed. And therefore, lords, since he affects her most, that most of all these reasons bindeth us in our opinion she should be preferred. For what is wedlock forced but a hell, an age of discord and continual strife? Whereas the contrary bringeth bliss, and is a pattern of celestial peace, whom we should match with Henry, being a king, but Margaret, that is a daughter to a king. Her peerless feature, joined with her birth, approves her fit for none but for a king. Her valiant courage and undaunted spirit, more than in women commonly is seen, will answer our hope and issue of a king. For Henry, son unto a conqueror, is likely to beget more conquerors. If with a lady of so high resolve as is fair Margaret, he be linked in love, then yield, my lords, and here conclude with me that Margaret shall be queen, and none but she.
Whether it be through force of your report, my noble lord of Suffolk, or for that my tender youth was never yet attaint with any passion of inflaming love, I cannot tell. But this I am assured, I feel such sharp dissension in my breast, such fierce alarums both of hope and fear, as I am sick with working of my thoughts. Take, therefore, shipping. Post my lord to France. Agree to my covenants, and procure the Lady Margaret do vouchsafe to come, to cross the seas to England, and be crowned King Henry's faithful and anointed queen. For your expenses and sufficient charge, amongst the people gather up a tent. Begone, I say, for till you do return, I rest perplexed with 1,000 cares. And you, good uncle, banish all offense. If you do censure me by what you were, not what you are, I know it will excuse this sudden execution of my will. And so, conduct me where, from company, I may revolve and ruminate my grief.
Exit. I, grief, I fear me, both at first and last. Exeunt Gloucester and Exeter.
Thus Suffolk hath prevailed, and thus he goes into the youthful Paris once to Greece, with hope to find the like event in love, but prosper better than the Trojan did. Margaret shall now be queen and rule the king, but I rule both her, the king, and realm.
Okay. All right. That was great, everybody.